Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I have two areas that really increased this year. It's my liquid asphalt and fuel. We got these new prices on our liquid asphalt back in April, May, and how it's affected us is it reduced our mileage on our paving this year. But what our plans are is to, basically we had Star Hollow on our list, the whole, from end to end. Hopefully this year, once October gets in the new budget, we plan on trying to go ahead and get that finished with the prices we've got now, not knowing what's going to happen next year. So I think that, it'd be in our new budget, but we'll get the list done this year. So liquid asphalt went up about 19.5%, and that was our primary vendor. It went from $2.59 to $3.09. Our alternate, which was our primary for the last 4 or 5 years, it went to $3.43 a gallon. So it doesn't make any sense. The $3.09 is from Shepherd, Texas. That's just northeast of Houston, and Ergon is over here in Saginaw off the Loop 820. So, but that's the two biggest one. We had $175,000 for fuel this year, and I don't think I bumped it up enough, but I've got it set at $225,000 this year for next year. Two courts ago, I did do a budget line amendment and moved $135,000 from our material fund and put it in fuel. It'd be close. It might make it, but I'm not sure. But that's the two increases that we do have.
You don't have any control over that either.
No, sir. No. I hated to. Really, it should be built up a lot more, but I don't know if it's going. It may go down. I mean, we've been through it once before, and it went down pretty quick. I don't know about now, but one other thing that I do every year since 2017, the court in 2017 did sign an advance funding agreement with TxDOT. Up front, we paid $5,510, and this was to replace the bridge that goes across Walnut Creek on Old Granbury Road. I didn't put it in there this year. Our balance is, from 2017, our balance is $38,903. I've talked to Becky, and I'm not putting you on the spot, but I don't know whether to. I have no indication they're going to do it this year. In the past, when they've come up with something like this in the middle budget, they did allow us to go to first of October, and make that payment in the new budget. But I assume it's going to still stay the same.
Don, can I add that in bridges and culverts?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So you need 38,000 in there?
38,903.
So the budget is 18. Can we just add 20? Is that going to cut it?
Yes. Yes.
But show any increase though for this year, right?
Well, I'm going to write it.
You're going to, oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
How much you going to put in there? 38?
I'm going to add 20,000 to the current budget.
Okay.
I've got 18 proposed.
Yeah, but that's what you had last year. You didn't show an increase.
No, sir. No.
But you're going to put another 20,000 in there for this year.
Just to have it in case TxDOT.
Okay, sure.
Is the new grade all, is that a replacement or is that an addition?
No, sir. It's a replacement for our 2007.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We had, the prior years, that's why we were trying to get our trucks and dump trucks, because we knew that one was going to be big, and
Okay.
it had to be by itself with that price. But yeah.
And the old one will go to sale?
Actually, they're talking to me about a trade-in.
Oh.
Right now, it looks like they're going to give us about $17,500 for the old
Okay.
one. So,
That's even better.
yes, it is.
Okay.
But
You do have, looks like 220,000 additional for equipment operators? Is that new employees, equipment operators, that's an increase, 220,000?
no, sir, that's salaries.
So the salaries are going to increase, you're asking for salary increase on the existing at 220?
Yes, sir.
Okay, gotcha.
We, and to explain why, we've had 3 openings for 7 months. And if they had a CDL, They were asking for $22 an hour.
Yep.
That was the lowest one. Ones that didn't, they were asking for 18. So
Yep.
we're looking at putting EO1s at 17 and EO2s with class CDLs at 19.
Gotcha.
It's not up what we've seen, but,
Yeah.
and
These CDL license, they've changed the requirements on that for $1,250 or something like that, plus the school.
Yeah.
You have to set them off.
yes, sir.
It's going to cost about $4,000 to get somebody qualified to get a CDL.
Yes, sir.
And then after we pay for that and train them, what if some big freight line comes along and snaps them up?
Yes, sir. But we've had a couple that's tried to get their driver's license, one after the new rule went into effect, and it's evident that you're going to have to take that class before they're going to give you that CDL.
Yeah.
There's no doubt, but
Yeah.
we're hoping Tarrant County, talking with Melissa, we're hoping Tarrant County open up a school somewhere close, but Melissa's been looking through the state and see if there's been anything, but
There's a possibility even the Waco area may offer. That's not as feasible though as Tarrant, but they're looking into it also.
But no, Judge, it's evident that unless you take that class, they're not going to let you get it.
And that's what's so bad. Train them, pay for it, and then they're leave.
Yeah.
Wonder if, get our county attorney, see if he could write something up that says if you leave, that you've got to reimburse.
Melissa and I had discussed that. I don't know about the legality.
We can ask them to sign it, but there's not a lot of, sure.
Melissa, why don't you come up here and sit so you can help?
There is, I mean, I'm sure the county attorney would consider writing something up, but there's not a lot of legal, we don't have a lot of weight in that. If an employee decides to leave, there's not much we can do about that, even if they did sign off. But Don and I have talked about, we have some current employees who we think would be interested in getting their CDLs. More than likely, those folks are not going to leave once they get certified. Now, I may be speaking out of turn, and they may leave the very next day. You never know. But I really think we have at least 2 employees that might consider going and getting their CDLs, which would be beneficial to Don. You know, we've talked about, same thing in the sheriff's office, make an employee sign off that they won't leave once we put them through the academy, and that's just really not an option.
Enforceable, right?
It really is. I mean, if they have a conscience, they might not leave for 2 years or whatever, but we can't enforce it.
That's what I told them, is the transit yesterday. Like, you find an indentured servitude agreement.
Yeah.
You don't know if that's,
Yeah, you know, if,
it'd be nice if they would though, and let them know that at least you can't leave it.
it would be nice, but unfortunately, we can't bind an employee to that. But I think we do have a couple of employees that might consider going and getting their license and staying with us.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Sorry, Don.
Thank you, Don.
All right, Don, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, District Court.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Judge Buffkin has asked me to present his budget this morning. There are very few changes. He has asked for pretty much the same increase that other departments has asked for as far as salaries, but he has indicated whatever the county decides, he'll be more than happy with. Any questions regarding his budgets? No?
Looks fine.
That was easy.
Okay, County Court of Law.
Now, I'm pretty sure, Judge.
There he is.
There you go.
You're up.
Your turn. They're not kidding, it's your turn. Present your budget. Do you have it, Richard?
I do not,
Judge Messina has it, and I think he's going to present, but I know it that he's going to present.
You've been asking for money all your life. Come on, it's easy.
I'll send you my contract and pay the retainer.
Judge, Ryan's here, we could go on with his.
Can I approach?
Sure.
This will be part, I think, of this.
Does it have money on it, Richard?
Do
Does
what?
it have money on it?
No, ma'am.
Okay, not on it.
That longevity that's here for the county court of law doesn't apply to Mr. Adams, that would come on.
If I can address it, Judge, probably 75% of it could come up.
Oh, really? Because you do have,
Yes,
Well-
prior-
oh, that's right.
prior
Judge
service.
Messina, will Judge Messina be paid through the first of the year? That's 25%. And then the beginning of the year, then the longevity pay will apply. So 75% of it would come up. I might tell the court too that Judge Messina's salary is higher than mine because of his longevity. And so the salary will be reduced, again, 75% of the difference between what his longevity the state pays and mine wouldn't. So there'll be a reduction there of 20-something thousand in terms of salary.
I think I have those numbers incorrect.
I bet you
I
do.
think.
Yeah.
But I have plenty of time to get them corrected if I got them.
Gil's got pretty good credentials.
You guys want to go to the district attorney and wait for Judge Messina, or what are we doing? He's here.
And that's one of the reasons why we ask for people to just come on, so if someone's late, we can get other people down.
All right. Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I think you've all received a copy of my budget. I've sent it to Becky, and I think she sent it on to y'all. A lot of the items I'm requesting the same as the previous year's budget. There are a few areas where I'm requesting an increase. Specifically, across the board, I think everybody is suffering in the county from inflation. So I put in there a Biden bucks inflation number on our salaries and wages, requesting an 8% increase on salaries and wages to keep even with the current inflation that we're suffering right now. I submit that to the court's discretion, but I am making the request to keep even with inflation. Just as a simple analysis, and using round numbers, if somebody was making $100,000 last year, they're making $92,000 this year because of the 8% inflation. So I'm requesting an 8% inflation across the board for all staff, but I do submit that to the court's discretion. I am also asking for additional clerical help. We need additional clerical help within the office to help process the cases. Everybody knows that the county is growing. With a growing county, unfortunately, that means growing crime. We have, last I checked, about 100 cases that are waiting to be processed clerically and put on grand jury, ready and waiting to go. And we just need to get to them. So we need additional help to get to that. Now, part of that is because this last year we've been working with some reduced, one of the clerical positions was working reduced hours, and that put us behind. But we do need additional help. I'm asking for that. Also, the Tyler transition is quite laborious and labor-intensive. Additional clerical help would assist with that transition as well. One of my child abuse investigators, he is working at a part-time position. I'm requesting to bring him full-time. He's currently at 60% of an FTE, so I'm requesting to bring him up to full-time, an additional 40% FTE. And of course, the benefits would go along with that coming to full-time. The vehicles, I came to court a couple weeks ago asking for new vehicles. Those have not been received yet. Last I understood, there was going to be quite a long lead time on those. So we've got to be able to keep our current vehicles functioning until we get those new vehicles online. So I'm requesting an additional $2,000 in vehicle maintenance to make sure we can keep those vehicles running until we get the new ones that the court graciously afforded us. And then on education and travel, I'm requesting an additional $5,100. There is some conferences that I think clerical staff could benefit from attending. There's a Victims Assistance Coordinator and Key Personnel Conference that the Texas District and County Attorneys Association puts on. Years ago, staff from the DA's office would attend that, but it's been a while. I think that we need to reinitiate attending those conferences for our key personnel and victims assistance coordinator positions. And then also, I anticipate that there's going to be some annual Odyssey or Tyler training that we would need to keep up with as well. And so the plan is, if the court affords us this budget, we would put our clerical staff on a rotating attendance schedule for that training. We'd send 2 one year and then another 2 the next year. But with that, I submit the budget to the court's discretion. I've also submitted a forfeiture expense budget down at the bottom of our spreadsheet, and I'd take any questions that the court has.
Pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Anybody have a question?
So you're looking for one additional employee?
Well, I'm actually looking for 1.4 additional employees. But if the court really, they're both pressing needs. The more pressing need is additional clerical help. So if I'm back to the Castle Keep, then that's what I'm asking for. But really, I'd like to bring that child sex abuse investigator up to a full-time position as well.
Okay.
Anything else?
Okay. Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay. Adult probation. There's the judge right there. Look at that. Come on up, you're up, Judge.
Yeah, we're ahead of time.
I like it. 10 minutes early.
That's great. Good morning. All right, so you see my budget is very much like last year, with a couple of late changes, if you don't mind. A conference with Judge-elect Haddix, and since he's going to live with 9 months of this budget, needed his input. On account code 0104320, on the 1, 2, 3, on the 4th line down, it calls for a salary, a requested salary of $40,000 for the assistant court coordinator. In my office, that's Lindsay Studemeyer. In Judge-elect Haddock's office, that's going to be Gail Campetti. And Gail Campetti has probably about 25 more years of experience as a legal assistant and paralegal with not only with Gary Llewellyn before Gary Llewellyn's death, but now with Judge-elect Haddock's while he's after Gary Llewellyn's death. She probably has a higher educational level. She probably has more, well, not probably, I know she has more experience. Judge-elect Haddock's is here to explain if you'd like to hear from him. His request to me, and my request therefore to you, will be an elevation from $40,000 to $50,000 per year, which comports with what her experience level will be. Okay, so I got to thinking that I'll live with 3 months of this budget. Judge-elect Haddock's is going to live with 9 months of this budget, so that's why I conferenced with him and had him brought in and talked about it. The other line is on 4330, and it's down on the visiting judge line. I requested $2,000, which has been sufficient for me for all this time. I mean, you'll notice over the last several years, $1,500 to $2,000 is what I generally request. Richard pointed out to me that he'll have several conflicts. I mean, he's had a very active criminal defense practice up to this point. Many cases, hundreds if not thousands of cases, are in the county court at law. Well, when he takes the bench, if any one of those criminal defendants have a motion to revoke their probation or a motion to adjudicate them guilty for the offense that they have pled for, if they've been given deferred adjudication, he can't hear it. He can't hear that case where he represented the criminal defendant in the defense of their case, original case. So, consequently, there'll be significant conflicts for at least the first year, probably 18 months before it clears. So the request, the amended request that I'm going to make on that particular line, again, after consultation with him, is from $2,000 up $5,500 to $7,500, which should cover at least the rest of the budgetary year for sure, and then he can see where his conflicts are the next year, the 23-24 year. But for 22-23, I'm asking for an additional $5,500 up to $7,500 from $2,000. And those are the only two changes. And I present myself to you for questions or comments or observations or conclusions. Any questions?
Everything looks good.
All right, very good. It occurred to me, gentlemen, that this is the last time I'll be presenting a budget to you guys. It's been an honor to serve with you, and wish you all the best of luck in the future.
Same
Thank
to you, Judge.
Right.
Take care.
Thank you for your service.
All right.
Okay. Is adult probation here? How about maintenance? And he's walking through the door right now. Hey.
You're just in time.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are y'all today? Yes, sir. Kind of. All right, on my budget, let me pull all my numbers up here right quick. I probably have, if you're looking at the same thing I was looking at, I may have some explaining to do on that, because the roofs were added into my maintenance budget, so it made it look like it was rather large this year. But I received $566,517.98 check to add the roofs, which would have been adult probation, juvenile probation, and the jail. Those are all completed, and so it kind of skewed my budget a little bit, but I had a $150,000 budget actually this year for maintenance. And as of today, I'm sitting at about 54,000 in that budget, not counting the roofs. I'm not asking for an increase this year in my maintenance budget. I'm hoping, even though the inflation is 9%, I'm hoping I can stay flat again this year.
150,000?
For maintenance?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Building maintenance.
I did, however, ask for a $200 increase in supplies this year, as well as a $500 increase in vehicle maintenance. Because this year I had to move money from my education and travel expenses over to buy tires for one of my vehicles. I should be okay the rest of the year. I think $3,500 would be sufficient for my department in vehicle maintenance. Contracts are flat, should be the same. I'm not anticipating any increases in that. I did go ahead and put the $1,500 in for education and travel. I can explain that in a minute, but I possibly could use that this year. And utilities, I have no control over. Not real sure where they're going. I have no clue.
You don't think they're going down, though, do you?
No, sir, I do not.
I didn't think so.
So, you know, that's really my budget. I didn't plan on anything large. I'm kind of chasing moving targets. As you all know, we do the HVAC deal as it becomes needed. If y'all would like to continue doing that, I would appreciate continue doing that. That's the $75,000 I'll come in and ask for. We track it. We make sure y'all are aware. It's only for putting new units in and large expenses on repairs to maintain, to keep what we got. I think we're in pretty good shape. I'm having a lot of trouble with parts right now, so our response to those units are a little slower. I apologize for that, but I don't know what else to do. Chad Davis has got one down right now, and we're working with him, trying to keep him comfortable until the parts come in, hopefully today.
And you said you were going to be looking at how many R22 systems you still got?
Yes, sir, and
On those.
I apologize, I don't have the numbers on those for you right now, but I will get them out to everybody, letting them know kind of, that's it. We talked about this. I just want to bring you up to date on the number of R22 units we got, and I have not done that, and so I need to get that out to you, but I could possibly put a dollar figure to those units at some point in the next 30 days and have it all together, but it's kind of hit. It's hard to get the units right now. Train's not taking any more orders. I'm buying whatever I can get, so right now we've got one of everything. That's what.
All of those will have to be replaced with new units because of the non-availability of R22.
Yes, sir. R22 right now currently is $1,200 a jug if you can find it. And so right now I'm patching them the best I can. I have no R22. That may cause an uptick of replacements as they fail. We're already, what, a month into this warm weather, so, you know, we're trying to do what we can to get by, and I think we're doing pretty good, actually, to be honest with you. I think we're okay. We do have some issues here and there. But as far as the maintenance budgets, if y'all have any questions on that.
I do.
Okay.
That minus $538,000, it looks like on the paper you busted your budget by $538,000. So,
Okay.
so just explain why that,
Yes, sir,
number's-
that was what I was talking about the roof. So I got a check from TAC. And when the check came in, we had a roof assessment on every roof in the county. So we went out and we assessed all the roofs. And we found the ones that were needing to be replaced. We got insurance money for those. So I received a check for $566, $517, and 98 cents from the insurance company to replace adult probation, juvenile probation, and the jail. Okay, so the way that worked was we had a $5,000 deductible on that. The $5,000 come out of my $150,000 budget. So what I had a $150,000 maintenance budget. I got a check for $566, $517, $98 from the insurance company. We put it in that account. So we paid all the bills. We replaced the roofs. And I've even got it broke down to what we paid for each roof, if you'd like that as well. So,
Well, I guess my question is, I guess replacing roofs doesn't come under capital? You're doing that out of your maintenance budget? Is that what we're doing?
it wasn't a capital because it was a reimbursement. We got the money from the insurance company. It
But it
did
doesn't-
not come from,
But it doesn't show here, is what you're saying?
right.
Okay, that's why the red numbers.
Yes, that's correct. So when the check come in, we looked at it and go, well, what do we do with the check? Where do we put it?
688. You only-
There's your budget was 150, but
So it made me look. And Becky and I discussed this, and it would, yeah, it kind of fuzzy. It's not, but, you know. So anyway, that's why it looked like I had an overabundance of revenue that I didn't have. That was all spent, every bit of that was spent, so. I am looking at some other things maintenance-wise right now, some carpeting and things like that. I don't have them bids back. That's the other problem I'm having. Because of the price of materials is going up at a rapid rate, if I get a bid, it's only good for a couple of weeks. So, you know, I reached out right before budget hearings for bids, and I still haven't got them back. So that's not sure how we want to do that. I'm trying to get with everybody, let them know. I know I've got some work in the county court law suite. Needs some carpet in their offices. I've got bids out for, right now, I've got bids out for the county clerk's office. I've got bids out for adult probation. We're trying to give it a facelift. It hadn't had a facelift in 20 years. So it's getting, we put new countertops in out of this year's budget. We just did it out of the budget. So we put in countertops and been doing a little cleanup, fixed to do some painting. We're doing some painting up at the jail. Buying, we're not having to, actually it's a pretty neat deal. We're not having to do the work. We're just supplying the paint. Inmates are doing the painting. So I'm purchasing that out of this year's budget. So that's not a capital issue at all. So I'm hoping to stay flat, but I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to, depending upon this 9% increase, maybe 18% 6 months. It's a moving target, so I'm willing to try to make it work, is what I'm willing to do, I guess is what I'm saying. And so, is there any questions on that part of it? The other thing that I'm concerned about, and my department's going to change a little bit here in the next 6 months. So I've got one employee that is moving up. He's going to go to the sheriff's department. He's going to be a deputy. This is something he's passionate about, something he wants to do. So I'll be losing that employee, but it's not a bad thing. We didn't lose him at the county. So that's a good deal. I got another employee that I hired from the city that turned out to be way more than I ever expected. This guy is really good. Brought him in at an entry level. And right now, you know, I'm asking that when we get to the part where we're, you know, looking at grade changes, I want to bring this employee up to a 9-1. And because this employee is working up at the jail, he's also making an excellent HVAC technician, and he's the guy that I want to send to school because he wants to stay at the county. He wants to retire from the county. He'd be a good replacement for me if I'm gone. So, I want to retain this guy. I've got another employee as of January 1st who's going to retire. He's going to be hard to replace too. So, you know, I've got some challenges that way, but I would like to bump this employee pretty good, and then we'll hire somebody to replace the one that's going to be a deputy, and hopefully we'll get another good one. And, you know, the rest of my employees are good, excellent. They're going to be here for a long time. So I would appreciate, you know, doing some great increases on them too. Basically, I've been talking with Becky on this. I think the numbers are pretty good that we've got on there for that. Are we still good with that, Becky?
We're still good.
Okay. So that's what I'm asking for today. And I think we'll make this work. But we will have some challenges over the next 6 months.
How old is that young guy that's going on the sheriff's department?
He's,
He's a good, guy, though, I really.
yeah, 31 or 2, I think he is. I'm sorry, I don't know. They all look younger to me.
Yeah.
Compared to.
He was talking to me about it yesterday, or maybe before yesterday. He's excited about doing that, so that's good.
Yes, and, you know, I mean, it's good when we can promote from within like that, and this is something he wants to do.
Yeah.
I think it's
Sure,
good.
benefits from that.
Yeah. So,
Okay. I don't have any questions. Anybody else have anything more to ask, Jay? Yeah, just help out the constable before so he couldn't come in my office and cool off.
yeah, I know. And, you know, there's some things I think we can do. I think I've got the funding to take care of some of these things, and we're working that way right now.
That's not your fault. You can't get a part, you can't get a part.
Yeah, but it is a little embarrassing at times, you know, so.
Okay. You're doing a good job, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Good job.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm not very good at hanging pictures, by the way.
I'll tell you what I thought. I thought that somebody broke it in my office and done that. I was going, hey, I got that taken care of. No
Yeah.
problem. No problem.
All right.
All right.
We'll take care of it. Thank y'all. Appreciate
Thank you
it.
very much.
Judge, I asked Leanne if she would come on over and present her budget. She has very minimal changes, and we are running ahead, so that just knocks that one out. So if you'll let Leanne go ahead, because she's trying to work payroll also.
Try, you're not finished payroll? Well, what are you
Can I-
wasting time over here then?
I'll make it quick. Yes, I don't really have much changes. I did ask for a slight increase for my, my clerk, just because she's taken a $15,000 pay cut to come work with me, and I'd like to retain her. So everything else is pretty normal, so do you have any questions for me? No? It's all good? Okay.
Anybody have anything else? We send her back to payroll?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Okay.
Hey.
Treasurer, out of the way.
I think, oh, there's a tree, I knew I saw you here. Environmental health, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Any status?
Okay, environmental health, its budget, I have asked for another full-time office person. When I started with the county in 19, we have 5,881 aerobic treatment units in the county. Requiring contracts. Currently, we have 6,805 contracts required. That equals to 20,415 inspection reports that have to be reviewed, placed in our permitting software, and complaints written up. We are on track for 2022 to break 700 permits, new permits for this physical 2022 year. We're averaging just under 60 permits a month. Most pre-site, before we issue the permit, are requiring 4 site visits because the schematics of the lots, the issues with the water lines, and some of these lots are unbuildable. I have some very unhappy builders. Some of y'all probably will be hearing about it. We currently have four four-drawer filing cabinets of unscanned existing systems. We have 2 drawers of systems that, separate from those, that need to be reviewed to see if there's any way that they can be determined where those systems are. These were BRA systems that the street names have changed. The lot numbers are the same, but the street names have changed because at one point in time in Hood County there were 9 quails. Some of these streets are county roads numbers. And someone with the county road operations system and other information can determine where these are located. The volume of paperwork, scanning, filing has increased dramatically. The number of meetings and assistance with the Brazos River Authority and the TCEQ complaints on stormwater, industrial waste, wastewater, and OSSFs are up. These are complaints that TCEQ turns over to us. To date, we have handled 345 complaints for the year. And that's trash and septic, or vector and septic, however you want to look at it. I have dealt so far with 4 wastewater issues within the county at regional wastewater plants. So the volume of work, I have 1 inspector that is doing 50% and doing all of the safe. I have 1 that is doing their job plus helping assist with the maintaining of the collection station. That was part of the reason for asking for the employees, because the number of issues is going up within the county as we develop the smaller lots, adding the new subdivisions, and traveling from one point in the county to the other also is becoming more time consuming. So this is what the part-time office help I have goes through every month. This is one of her forms, and each one of these, she is having to check the addresses on every one of them, because these properties sell not once, but 2 or 3 times sometimes in a year. And what's in our system for us to produce the letters and what the appraisal district shows as the owner are 2 different things. State law requires that we go off of what the appraisal district says, so we are continually having to update everything in our system.
Does this part-time employee, will he or she be able to go full-time?
I don't think that she's going to be willing to go full-time. She moved to Hood County. She is a native Hood County. She went to high school here. She had moved off and she came back to Hood County to help take care of her mother. She recently lost her stepfather in a tragic accident, and she's working around her schedule trying to help with her mother. I think there's probably going to be some health issues with her mother that she wouldn't be able to take it full-time. I do have 2 people that are interested in working if I can get this changed.
All right. Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Stack. Okay. Next, we have tax collector, tax assessor collector. Okay, Andy.
Good morning. How are y'all today? Well, we having fun?
Oh, yeah.
My budget's really not changing a whole lot. I'm asking for the inflation pay raises for my department. Same thing that's going on with all the other departments. The only thing I'm really asking for is if I can get a part-time person to be a supportive role for my department. $6,000 a year. They'd just work every other day, a couple hours a day. I'm asking for a $500 increase in my supply budget because I've taken over another department, and then the coffee for my building also comes out of my budget. So I'm asking only for a $500 increase for that one. And for education to be raised up. Prices for the hotels are going a little higher, and fuel's going a little higher. So I'm asking for a little increase in that as well. I do have 4 employees that are going to be longevity this year, so that's pretty exciting. So we do have some of those that are hitting that mark. I have 4. So of course my longevity will be going up. But hey, it's a wonderful thing. So I'm asking for just the pay raises for the department like everybody else is asking for, and that's about it for me.
But you reduced education and travel by $1,500?
That's because that was for the DPS to get theirs.
Oh, so you got that last year, don't need it this year?
Right, so I'm just
Okay,
asking for mine.
Gotcha, gotcha.
That's for their DPS training.
Got it.
Any questions?
A lot of compliments. Driver's license, everything.
It's been wonderful. It's been a wonderful asset for our county.
Anybody else have any questions? All right.
There we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I know you were busy up there.
Good morning.
All right, I saw that, so you're right.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Okay, so for adult probation, I'm just asking for the same amount of funding that we've received the last 2 years. Some noteworthy things on that. Normally, I would provide you last year's numbers, but those are kind of skewed because of COVID and stuff, so it doesn't make much sense. But this year, to date, In landscaping projects for the county, the CSCD has completed 2,775 hours, and that would, at $12.50 an hour, that's a savings to the county of $34,687. And that's just landscaping to county properties. At animal control, we have worked 2,045 hours at a savings of $25,562 to the county. So Kelly is enjoying our people coming out, and so we're working real well with them. Any questions about adult probation? Okay. Juvenile probation is pretty much the same. One thing, you know, that's always appears to be high is our placement line item. We place kids at $197.60 a day. So when you have a kid in placement for 6 to 9 months, you're looking at anywhere from, you know, $40,000 to $50,000 just paid on one kid. So I think that reasonably, it's not that much when you think about how much you have to pay. But everything else is pretty much the same. Anybody have any questions or comments, concerns?
Thank you. Good job.
No? Okay.
Good job.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.
Okay. Okay, District Clerk. Anybody? What about y'all? Y'all are the yeah, let's go up here. Get this over with.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to blow everyone probably out of the water here.
No, Drew, no.
Oh, there it is.
Mostly him.
IT.
I was going to say.
Guy always wants money.
Oh, of course. Well, I can start off by saying mostly everything is staying the same. I say mostly. Overall, I'll still be asking for a $422,000 increase in 3 of our lines, of course, going into the whole supply chain issues. I mean, right now, we're dealing with computers, and they're up, I'd say, almost 30 to 50% right now, or anything tech-related.
And also, if I can interject as well, we've got problems like with our door system down here. The one part that we need to fix it, that we placed for order 2 months ago, is not due to be back in stock until the end of November.
Yep.
So a lot of these we're going to get to a point where instead of replacing parts, we're going to have to replace systems because they're systems we've got to have up and running. And ultimately, some of them are, you know, it's about time for it anyways, but the supply chain issues are definitely making it a lot more difficult to get things on hand so that we can fix things right away.
Yep. I mean, it's the same thing with like maintenance, you know, you're just like, we're doing the best we can to do things. We're in the same way. So like I was saying, so realistically here, again, for contract services, I was asking for $11,800 increase. Hardware, asking for $100,000 increase. And then on our maintenance line, which is just a 3%, standard 3% increase, was $310,000.
That's 30%.
From what we currently have, it should
Yeah,
be.
when you're $1 million, you're up in that 300,000, that's 30%, not 3.
Oh, whoops.
Did we, can we back that way down, or is it, I mean, those contracts aren't going up 30% a year, are they?
Did I do the math? I mean, if I did the math wrong, then I apologize, and yes, that's definitely
No,
me.
that's good.
That's
If you
on
did
me.
the math wrong there,
That's definitely on me.
fix that, yeah.
Then we can back it down again if the math is wrong, which, you know, I mess up quite often, so I don't mind doing that. I'll take that.
Finding money in your checkbook,
Down
that's,
102.
when you're messing up math that way, it's okay.
Maintenance.
Hardware.
Software.
It was
Software maintenance.
software.
Hardware maintenance.
What do you want to reduce it to, Drew?
Well, I was just going to bump it the standard 3%, which apparently I can't do math right. So would that be 30,000 increase then,
Yeah,
if that's what you're saying?
31,000.
Okay, 31,000, then we'll just do the standard 3%. So, well, that makes it even easier. So overall, really, I'm asking for a $150,000 increase across the 3 lines then. Continuing on with, of course, raises, threw it across the board because it's hard to retain good people. And right now, quite frankly, we're pretty efficient on quite a bit of stuff. Mostly, I mean, we're talking within minutes to be able to service systems if we're down and to keep systems alive. So of course, I think that the staff that we have right now, of course, deserves the raises that I've added into the budget. I have also asked for 3 additional staff. Of course, 3 years ago, I asked for 3 people. We didn't get anything.
That's in that IT technicians, is in there 3 new, 3 additional?
Yep. So realistically, I was looking for a network engineer because right now we only have 1 network engineer. 1. If he leaves, we're done. We need a backup. We really do. I mean, I said that 3 years ago. It's on a video, of course. Don't take my word for it. Watch the video. And then again, we need another technician just due to, because again, we're like maintenance. Our whole thing with tickets is the other departments submitting tickets. That's our whole workflow is based on other departments here. And as they grow, we grow. It's the same way. And then, of course, we're asking for a Tyler tech as well, a Tyler technician. Now that we have all these departments moving to Tyler, I think it would be in the best interest that we have a Tyler representative, at least in our staff, that could help troubleshoot any Tyler-related issues these other departments currently have.
And that's in one of these 3?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have somebody in mind? Do you know of somebody that's available?
I do. I do. I have an individual in mind that I've already talked to. It is from a different department in the county. So they would be essentially moving up if I get that position. Because right now, that individual is mainly taking care of most of the work that the other departments don't have time for. And it's the same with our department. Right now, I have an individual within my department that are taking care of things that the other departments don't have the time for right now in this conversion process. So we're trying to be as flexible as, to pick up the slack or just the no time, because again, everyone's doing something different, at all times, while still trying to provide the good quality service that we generally provide to anyone that has a down system or has any kind of issues or not. I mean, again, sometimes it's in fluctuation here. But we're trying to maintain the best we can. And of course, the supply chain, it really, I know it's hitting everything across the board hard, but it started in computers and it's still there. And it's really affecting a lot of things. I do have capital. I don't know when capital will be presented, but I'll be asking for $500,000 in capital items this year. And on top of that, our normal, when we normally, as information technology, comes to the court to ask for computer hardware, laptops, monitors, et cetera, because again, we try to stay ahead of that by stocking up on what we can. So if there is a down system, we can just come in and replace it, and we're back up and running. And that's been very successful the past 8 years I've been here. And I would like to keep doing that if we can. So normally I would come and say, hey, I need either 100,000, 200,000, so we can bulk buy these items, because right now, even if we bulk, bought like 10, 20 PCs, we're looking at a 6-month lead time minimum.
Supply chain's gotten worse, isn't it?
Yes. And then you add on the 35%, 40, 50, 75% on certain item increases over everything. It's crazy. But we are doing the best we can to keep everyone up 24/7 and continue moving forward. So that's everything I got.
It just is what it is.
It is. We're all kind of making do with what we got.
Anybody else have any other questions? Y'all do a good job.
We try. We certainly try. Thank you, Court.
Thank you. need our election administrator here. Come on up here, Ms. Stephanie.
Good morning. Do you guys all have the updated sheet in your packets? Yes? No? You need it? Okay, so I'll start with saying the bottom line on the budget is equivalent to what, well, pretty close to what the 2022 budget was, but I've moved it around a little bit. And on the supply line, I've increased that a lot, but I want to decrease that to 40 instead of 60. And that's because we need to replenish a lot of the things that we've used for the 3 elections we've already had this year, and we need to get ready for 2024. We have a lot of things that have been damaged that we need to fix or replace. There's a lot of organizational things that we need to purchase so that we can save the longevity of the equipment that we do have. And then one set of ballots for 2024 is going to cost us about $22,000, so that'll eat a big chunk right there. And the other one that's changed is the election judges and clerks line. That one's gone down because we only have one big election for this fiscal year, which is November this year. So that's really everything that I've changed.
I have a question.
Yep.
I looked at your current numbers this morning, and you are over budget in FICA. You're going to need to present a budget amendment, and you're going to be over in salary pretty quick. So we need to get those things taken care of as soon as possible.
Okay.
And retirement.
Any other questions, comments? Get anything else?
No. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
I asked Clint to come on.
Yes. Go ahead. Good morning, Mr. Hill.
Good morning. Initially, I just asked for $500 additional for the supply budget to purchase a piece of equipment needed to find property corners. I looked at the price of that equipment this morning, and it's gone up to $914, so need to adjust that. And maybe possibly look, I'm not looking to hire anybody right now, but if I have to hire anybody in the future, then I don't want to have to wait until the next budget year, so possibly a placeholder for a position.
That's something we need to add to your spreadsheet then, you're requesting a...
I'm not sure how that works, but yeah, possibly.
Well, okay, I just want to make a note that you're requesting an additional position.
If it's possible.
Okay.
Do you need a full-time or part-time?
Full-time if it's possible. I'm not looking to hire them right now. I won't hire them until it's absolutely needed.
Until when?
Until I absolutely need them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But if you don't get it in the budget, you're going to be without it for a year, is what you're saying.
If I absolutely need them and it's not in the budget, then I'll have to wait.
That's right. I agree.
Or we have to go through all that mess of y'all having to break the rules.
Probably be around 34,000. I think that's what we start out for clerks, isn't it? Somewhere around there.
You got somebody in mind?
No, I don't even have any idea about hiring anybody right now. It's just if we get the interlocal done and things keep going the way they're going, if the market don't crash, then we may need somebody, I don't know. Right now, I got it covered.
Deal. Anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay, pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. Okay, I see we have Constable Chad Davis here. What is he, 2, 1? You want to come on up? Constable? Work one of the constables gets the most money.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I don't have any changes on my budget. I left it the same. I think I can operate off of the way it was last year. If we do give raises to the clerks, I would definitely want mine included. I think, you know, they deserve it. I know we're limited, but, and as y'all know, I'm the only constable that hasn't asked for a new truck. I think I can still get some use out of mine. It does have the same issues that Constable Shirley's truck has with his, but.
How many miles you got on yours?
A little over 90,000,
Okay.
so.
But it's still running, huh?
It's still running. It has that same issue, which is not, it's more of an electrical issue, I think, in mine, which I can, you know, I don't know. I'll look at it when the time comes. It's operating now and working, and I've had to replace batteries, but if that gets too common, then I'll have to look at getting that system replaced. And it probably won't be too long. I don't know how this operates with backup vehicles, but, you know, if it comes down to it, you know, probably within the year, I'll probably be having to ask for one, especially with the miles. But as of right now, I want to get the most out of that one, of course. But other than that, another little issue, and this ain't a part of this budget here, but I'd like to request we make a change on this no-buy list. I don't know if maintenance has went yet, but my office is like 85 degrees down there, and it's hard to work out of there, and I can't even go buy a little fan to put in my office because fans are on this no-buy list. And all I need is a little $15 fan to put on my desk and my clerk's desk so we can get a little, because they did let us use the big maintenance fans to blow it out of the hallway, and that's working good. But it's still, when that sun comes out, I sweat sitting at my desk right now. So, and I'm not complaining about maintenance. They're doing what they can. I know their expenditures are way more, and they got to come to y'all for this. But I think it's kind of minute that I can't go buy a little fan to put in there to keep it comfortable. This ain't lush. I just want to be comfortable sitting at my desk doing my job. So I asked y'all to look into that and maybe change that to emergency situations. You can buy something like this, and it's coming out of my budget, which I know is the people's budget. But I'm not asking for lush. I just want to be comfortable while the air conditioner's out. They moved.
So the air conditioner is out?
It's out. Yes, they moved grand jury to another room because it's hot in there. It's hot in the courtroom, so they moved it over.
I hadn't heard it.
So
He was talking about a while ago is he can't get the part, then maybe the part will be in today. That's for, that one.
this has been 6 days now, and on those 100-degree days, it is hot. And so, but other than that, I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Okay, thank you, guys. You're doing a good job.
Judge, I'm going to present purchasing and mailroom. Glenn is out of town. He has very few changes, and he does have a few decreases. Where he has the bulk of an increase is in fuel, and I don't think that's going to be enough if the prices continue to rise. He's bumped it up $104,000.
Your mic on?
It is.
Okay, thank you.
So where's that at? That's in the mailroom?
Yes, it's under purchasing.
Yep. And then mailroom.
So those two are together.
Yep.
But the second budget under purchasing itself, the fuel line is 160 now.
Yes.
Which this is, again, I print this when we're at 6 months worth of budget. So that has been increased by 100,000 already. That's 260, not 160. and our last fuel bill was 58,000.
So he's got in the budget to increase 104,000, and you're saying that's not enough?
I don't believe
Okay.
it's going to be enough.
Sure.
Owen, will you pull up Fund 55 that I sent out? Do you have that? I think, I'm going to make sure I'm telling you this right, but on our list of payments over $10,000, I think fuel was 55 or 58,000 for 1 month, I think. I want to make sure of that. If that's the case, then I want to put a new number in here, right? Do y'all remember by any chance on the payments over 10,000? Does anybody remember?
I looked at it, I don't have it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, and I sent it out and don't remember.
I can pull it up real quick.
$58,001.58.
For
That's
1
1 month of fuel.
So that's over $500,000 a year.
Thanks, Joe Biden.
And the thing is, I moved 100,000 in there because we were running low.
Yeah.
So I imagine next court, we'll be doing another budget amendment. I'll have to pull it from somewhere. So I would say we probably need to bump this up to at least 200,000.
Okay. Put it down.
Keeping it that track, it would be 600.
A 200,000 increase.
636. Well,
Okay.
let's just make this budget $500,000.
Why not?
We're not going to have, and maybe things will change. Right, and make the request $500,000.
Okay. Just money.
I was talking with a county employee, well, an elected official. This is just something to throw out there while we're in here. And we were talking about the fuel costs for our employees. And we might possibly look at people working 4 days, 4 tens. And if you do that, if you have a bigger office, you can have a Monday through Thursday and a Tuesday through Friday that would help with fuel. And that's just to help employees with fuel. I don't know, it's just a suggestion. Some offices, a few already work 4 tens. Worked a lot of 4 tens at the nuclear plant, and 5 tens and 6 tens. Are there any other question on purchasing or mailroom?
Anybody else? What are you here for? You're here today, listen. Okay. You got anybody else that wants you?
Melissa, Melissa can.
Personnel risk management?
Yes, sir. Good morning. I am looking at the account code 010-4100 first. I believe it'll be at the top of your page, that particular column.
Management?
Yes, sir. I didn't make a lot of changes on here. I did decrease a few lines just to increase the drug testing. The DOT has increased their percentage of their pools as far as what they require to be tested. So that has gone up actually the past 2 years. So I am putting more money in that line item. This pertains only to our CDL drivers. The sheriff's office takes care of his own testing. So I did increase that line and decreased supplies, contract services, and travel. Other than that, I didn't make any changes on there, other than you can see insurance, the very last line item. I did increase it. As you've all heard this morning, everything's going up, and property insurance increases past year, and it'll increase again. They say estimate 15 to 20%, because if we have to replace anything, it's going to be outrageous.
That's our property insurance.
Actually, it's a lump of all of our insurances.
Oh, okay.
Property, vehicle, liability, yeah.
Okay.
Not healthcare, though.
No, healthcare is separate.
Yeah, that's more.
But I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have about risk management.
You're comfortable with taking those down, your supplies and stuff?
Yes, sir. Based on what our activity's been so far, I feel confident in the supplies. Contracted services, I'm good with that. Travel, about the only travel we do is for TAC workshops, and they're very good at reimbursing us for what we spend as far as hotel, mileage. So actually, we're not out anything. And very seldom do we go to any other workshops or training outside of
County
TAC.
stuff, isn't it?
Healthy County, and then risk management, yes.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions? Okay.
All right, now we'll look at personnel. You can see my HR generous line. I did ask for an increase there. I am decreasing my part-time budget. I don't want to do away with it because sometimes during open enrollment, we do need a little extra help in the office. But for the most part, the two of us are able to handle the office at any given time.
Okay.
Just the salary line, and then I am decreasing part-time. Health insurance, we'll discuss that briefly. That I have my rep from TAC, he will be here for the June 28th court, and that's when I'll bring the proposals to you. I hope to meet with each one of you before then. I did receive some more proposals this morning from TAC. I haven't actually inserted those numbers yet. I am waiting on one more proposal from TAC. My hope is that the renewal will be around $30,000 to $35,000 annual, which I don't think is bad regarding health care. We did see a 9.9 increase if we renewed as is. So I have some more proposals to bring to you that will, of course, change our plan. But I would still love for the court to pay, the employees' premium. And so I'm trying to keep it to where the county doesn't have to take the brunt of everything, and then hopefully our employees will not have to be hit as very hard either. That's my hope.
Good luck.
Yes. Unfortunately, it's a moving target, and it's not going down. So I will be visiting with each one of you separately and hopefully preparing you for the last court of this month. I also wanted to let you know that currently we did the reimbursement program for our employees. If they spent above the $2,000 deductible, we reimburse them up to the $3,000, an amount of up to $1,000. Currently, we've only reimbursed 6 employees, 6, and we have 2 that I don't have confirmation yet on how much they've actually spent on their deductible. So I know there's going to be some money left in that reimbursement line item that, and of course this is between the auditor and the court, but maybe we could use some of that remaining budget to compensate for the increase in health care. I would still like for the court to reimburse the employee again approximately $1,000 for the 22-23 year, but of course all of this is up to the court. And we can discuss it more during the last court of this month. Does anybody have any questions regarding any of my other items?
It's good at getting those options, that's what we want to look at.
Sure.
That's really good, that's a good job there.
And I just wanted to also let you know that TCDRS has dropped their required contribution rate, which is very positive for the county. I'm always so grateful for our retirement plan. I know our employees are grateful, and so it's a good thing when that required contribution rate drops for us. And I have been in conversation with the auditor about that, so. Anybody have any questions?
You do a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate you, and I know our employees do too, all of you.
Good deal.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I guess we have the district clerk here.
I'm here.
You're up.
Good morning. I really haven't done anything to my budget this year except to ask for another person. Everything else looks about the same. I have done that. I didn't bring my charts at this time because I have charted from 2013 through 2021 on caseload, cases that have been in every aspect of my court. I've had a lot of people saying that legislature's going to be looking at another county court at law or another district court. So I just went ahead and charted it and graphed it and got it ready for whoever to look at. But I didn't bring those. But we have, we're swamped. I mean, we are drowning over there in work and still can't get it all done. We've had, I don't know how many hundreds of cases. Whenever I get a new case, it doesn't mean that the old cases are finished. Our cases could last up to a year. So when you have 1,500 new cases and you already have 1,500 cases, it's a lot for 6 people to handle. So that's why I have asked for another person in this budget. And
Full staff now?
no, I will be probably in the next Monday or so. I've interviewed and,
Okay.
but it's hard to find people too. So that really, I don't think anything else has changed. It looks like it's the same on the chart, but that's all I have. It's just ask for a new person.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Okay?
Nope.
All right, thank y'all.
Thanks.
Thank you. Well, I see we've got constables here. So, let's go ahead and I guess Constable Shirley, and you're next.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My proposed budget for this next year is mainly in line with my previous budgets. I'm again asking to please refund the admin position for my office. I did ask for a couple of small bumps in a couple of the accounts to cover for the increase in inflation over the last year or so, and also maybe still have a repair to my patrol truck of an alternator. Other than that, everything's pretty much in line. If y'all have any questions, I'm glad to entertain them.
Looks good.
Anybody have anything, any questions or comments?
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Chad Jordan.
Am I missing that one? Oh, turn the page. Got it.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We're moving along today.
Yep.
All right. In the budget, what I've asked for is an increase for Patricia. Last year, when we were trying to get her a raise, we created a position in the county that's never had that position and started them at a higher rate than what she had. She's also doing 2 offices plus purchasing and as such, and give you some updates on the tax sale. During the tax sale, we collected over $1 million in 6 weeks, roughly, off the last tax sale, helping to offset the tax burden on the taxpayers, putting those properties back on the tax roll, and it was lengthy. We started with 174 properties. I think we ended up selling 122 that didn't pay prior to, or that were pulled due to other litigation. And we had everything we had, we sold.
Our sale started at 10 a.m. and we didn't finish till almost 2. And then everything got paid within the 24 hours in full. So it was awesome. We have people coming from the Metroplex and everywhere else. So anything we can do to get the appraisal district to bring more to the table to help them, the school district and the county, because we have many that are sitting there with judgments on them. But the appraisal district's the one that holds the cards on those when those can come up and we can handle those. One of the other things I've asked for is a deputy position. We talk about this each year about the warrants that are outstanding in the JP courts. And if we add all the warrants up together in the county, we're looking at over $1 million owed to Hood County. Now, the big thing about having warrant officers and officers handling these things is not to incarcerate. We're looking at the Class Cs. The job is to get them before the court, not in jail. Incarceration is the last option for anything on Class Cs. That's what we're looking for. What I'm asking for, it would be best and ideal if we had one in every constable's office so they're working in two-man teams. Now, we talk about Class C warrants. There's another thing that comes to it because DPS has changed the regional office for our troopers. Our troopers now are out of Dallas, so they're on the North Texas Crime Information Computer System. Hood County is not. Our troopers stop people with warrants out of McKinney, Collin County, which is McKinney, Denton, Weatherford, even Rockwall, and they're incarcerating them here in our jail. But they don't allow us to bring our warrants for Hood County into the database. And with those deputies, we can push hard for that to be on that and have better response time. Because we have many individuals here, many warrants here in Hood County that are individuals out of the Metroplex and even the north side of the Metroplex. People that come to the lake and different things. So that would help offset that. One of the things I want to look at also in this budget year, we're in works now with the constables of our fee structure. If we mimic some of the counties around us like Johnson County, specifically looking at theirs in the past year, just in fees to, now one of the things that counties, you have the ability to do is you set the fees for the constables and sheriff for service. People pay for service with the courts. County clerk, district clerk, JP courts, and we get them from all over the state. But just on the tax sale alone, if one of these fees was looked at, it would have been an increase of $58,000 just off the tax sale. There's another fee that's charged that if we looked at that, we're looking at $170,000 total by increasing our fees just off the tax sale compared to what we just had. So those are things we're looking at to relieve some things within the office and the cost of operating the office to our fee structure brought up, not as we have been doing with very minimal, but to bring it up to what other counties around us are at to help pay for the services that they're asking for. And that's what we're going to bring to y'all in later time in one of the commissioner courts, and we'll be coming by each of the constables to visit with y'all individually.
With that, those outstanding warrants, do you think we can actually collect? We've got $1 million.
Now, I can't put a number on it per se because we've been doing this for years, working on this. One of the best things years ago when we were a lot slower in the office, one of our best months was 30,000. But at the same time, you have to look at JPs are continually issuing warrants, things that are coming in. And those are things to help the courts, help relieve the burden on the courts. To also look at those individuals that have Class Cs that end up going to TDCJ. Instead of giving them time served and giving them credit, we go after them with the garnishments, and we're going after their inmate trust accounts. So they're paying it on a monthly basis to pay their fees back to Hood County, and we're taking candy bars and Cokes out of their mouth. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Okay. Cotton Howe, you up? Judge Howe.
Look at me. I thought it was supposed to be beauty before age.
Oh, here we just go by.
By numbers? All right, Judge, Commissioners. I'm good. I don't have anything I need to change, leave in, or take out. So, the only thing I ask for is the same thing I ask for every year. The biggest asset we have in this county is the people that sit behind them computers every day and take care of the business of the county. So, whatever you can slice out somewhere else or come up with somewhere else, you need to give that money to the clerks and, like I said, the people that are sitting behind them computers every day taking care of the county's business. So I ask you to do that. I don't, you know, the inflation rate's 8.5%. So if we give everybody a 6% raise, then we're still behind 2.5%. So, you know, y'all do what you can. Thank you.
Okay, Judge Castillo. How many times have you been up here in these budget meetings and said, or maybe this is the last of your appearance?
Well, this will be the last time I'm up here in this court, sir. 16 years with this one, 25 years altogether. 25 years with the county, so.
What, 16?
With JP and 25 altogether with the county clerk's office and health department. Sure.
Don't flatter him. Just give him a big head.
Yes. But no, thank you, Judge and Commissioners. But same thing, my budget still is going to say the same thing. It's run efficiently the way it is at this point. The only difference will be the new judge coming in. I believe that will be the other expenses. They'll have to have their business cards, letterheads, and other little things that they may need. I guess that will be added at that point.
Your supply line looks good. Y'all were prudent, and you
Yeah, we keep it.
there shouldn't be any issues with your budget that you
Okay.
presented for the new judge coming in. Okay. Looks
So,
good.
and the only thing else I'll ask, of course, is high pay for the clerks. I mean, they do work their tails off. We're the busiest office in there as far as civil cases and so forth like that. So I do have the 2 part-time clerks, so we keep that money in there to keep them going, and that's all I ask for. All right?
Good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for your service.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Okay, well, I'm pretty much like the other judges, is that I really would like that increase for the clerks. Of course, as we all know that, especially this year, they're going through a lot of things with this new Tyler conversion, and I know I'm very the one pushing that. The other judges, not so much, but I think it's going to be, in the long run, it's going to be a huge asset to the county to have us all on one system. So I am asking that they be given at least a 5%, cost and living raise to kind of try and keep up with inflation a little bit. And then, this would be the 3rd year that elected officials have not received an increase also. So I'm also asking for just a cost of living raise for us as the for all elected officials. Other than that, everything else on the budget remains the same. I still still requesting a part-time, that stay in my budget, even though I've not had one since January 1. I am looking presently for one, just so that we always have clerks in the office, at least 2 for security. We're out there, we're open till 6. So I would like to make sure that there are 2 girls in the office every time that the office is open. Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, I just received a text message from from purchasing. They have approved to buy fans for Chad Davis's office.
Perfect.
So that's taken care of.
Good. Thank you for that. That's good. Good deal. Okay, we don't have Judge Gillum. We don't have
good as mine.
How are you doing?
Well, I've been better. I've really pretty much under the weather today and all week, but I made it here. Pretty much all of our budget lines look great. I don't need anything extra except for maybe in ebooks. And the books for adults, if we can get a $5,000 increase, because on the books for adults, it'll help keep the Bookmobile's books coming in with the McNaughton subscription, which revolves popular titles in and out. It's a lease program, so we lease X amount of titles, and it's a revolving collection, and that helps keep the collection fresh. And for the ebooks, we run out of that money fast every year because that's what people are wanting, are those ebooks and the e-resources. So that's all I have.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I hear no complaints about the library.
Thank you.
Everybody loves it, so
Thanks.
that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. County Clerk.
Good morning, judges and commissioners. I would like to request to keep with my specified time because it's printed in the newspaper. I have to do a public hearing, so that's not scheduled till 11:30.
Is there anybody else up here? Nobody? You want to take a break?
Yes.
Good morning. How are y'all doing today? Has it been a short day so far or a long day just in a few hours? Have y'all been having people go through this line by line, or have you just been asking questions, or how would you like for me to
Just give us a summary.
move forward? The summary is that the big things is most of my line items that go up are because I'm asking for another deputy to help with warrants. And that's the main thing that I've put on here is a patrol deputy, or not a patrol deputy, but a constable deputy to help with the warrants. I have some numbers just for my precinct alone. We actually purged the system up to 2013. I didn't. The JP's office did. And we still have over $200,000 in warrants from 2013 to now. And just since I've been in office, they've generated $91,989 in warrants that's out there. I see a need for it, and that's why I'm asking for it. And I've got an email prepared to send all of y'all with all these numbers on it.
You don't have any deputies right now?
No, sir. I put in for a reserve, but it's hard right now to find quality help that's willing to dedicate themselves for just having their commission carried.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay. So we do. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. All right. Judge Gillum.
Morning, Judge. Morning, Commissioners. I've been here earlier, but I think we're setting a record today for magistrations in the jail. And probably for all judges. I mean, I have 4 men with 25 charges from last night, all felonies. So, and I'm not finished. When I leave here, I'm going to go back and finish the other 30. I think we're around 42 charges this morning, so thank you, Sheriff. Busy. So mine's pretty simple. I asked for a carryover on my budget from last year for certificate pay for both my clerks this year. They have not had the time to do this because one has been out on medical leave, as most of you know, and the other has been my only clerk and no time to do the certificate pay, so can just take that over for the next year. And then other than the salary request increase 5% for my clerks, that is all I'm asking for from my budget. Any questions?
Nope.
Looks good.
Short and sweet. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Becky?
Judge, Commissioners, I got a text from Clint. He forgot to add a copier lease. He did send it to us. It was after this was printed, but he would like to add a copier lease to his budget. Development and compliance. And offhand, I would say that's probably $2,500 a year, off the top of my head.
How much?
I'm going to say about $2,500. That's about what other offices run.
Mr. Bill? Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Well, Becky summoned me on short notice. I did have a 30-minute PowerPoint for you, but I didn't bring it because...
That's why I summoned you on short notice.
Okay. Right. All right. Do y'all have my page pulled up? So the only two things that we did or that requested that are a little bit out of the ordinary, I spoke maybe month or two ago about the attorney line item. So we covered that raise ourselves, partially out of unspent money from when we had about a 3-week gap in between filling positions, and then hot check money will cover the rest. So we're good this year, but I like to just maintain without any new raises. So in other words, we bumped it up, I don't know, a month or so ago. So I'm not asking for new money this fiscal year, but I'm asking just to keep it where it was when we bumped it up in order to get that position filled. The other thing that it's not a lot of money, but I mentioned it in an email to everybody, and it's really more a sheriff kind of request, but I'd like to try to double the incentive pay for the certified translators. I can't tell you how important that is when you need it. We have one in my office just half hour ago was translating for a guy who spoke no English, and I don't know how that would have gone in court without that service. And you think about when deputies are out there on calls and translating, or in the jail or dispatch or any other thing. I mean, the value that brings to me is a lot more than $600 a year, which is what we're currently doing. If we doubled it to $1,200, the whole outlay would be less than $10,000 a year for the whole county, because there's 13 of them. So I think that's really more of something that Roger could jump in on, because he's got 8, I've got 1, so I'm just trying to help mine, but that's just a super valuable service that they provide. Any comments, Roger, on that? This is really I'm kind of going to bat for your office more than mine here, but I'm trying to convey how important it is when you see the work they do. And the one that is in my office, we loan her out to other offices here in the Justice Center. The DA uses her. We even had a lawyer on a divorce case. We just, as a service, we said, sure, go ahead and you can take her. But can you speak to that a little bit, Roger, while we're here on this?
Sure. Yeah, like you said, I've got, I believe, 8 of them that are translators that are signed up like that. And yeah, when you get these people in through the jail, out in the streets, the dispatch has a helpline that's kind of cumbersome, but they can get some help through a off-site person. But the ones that are here, when we need them, we need them. Yeah, they're like the county attorney said, they're invaluable. That $600 pay is nothing compared to when you really need them. So doubling that would be fantastic, because we definitely need those people. They provide a heck of a service. I know this morning the bailiff for the county court law was talking Spanish to me, and I know Savi, and it's pretty important you understand what they're saying and that they understand what law enforcement is saying to them, or in court, like the attorney says. So yes, it would benefit my department more than even his, but yes, we need to up that pay, because they're very valuable to the county.
So you're just doubling the pay to the one person you got. You're not giving that person.
Right, that's correct, yes. So the current supplement is $600. I was requesting to make it $1,200. So that's just $600 more for my department, and 600 times 8 for his. So, anyway. And I think probation has 2, tax assessor has 1, one of the constables has 1. I'm forgetting.
I'm confused, excuse me. We're showing 6,000 for that.
That's a mistake. You can blame Becky. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
That's completely, or almost completely unspent. Sorry, I didn't put him up to that question. But you can see, hopefully you've got a thing there that says budget remaining, and it should be like $5,600 or whatever remaining.
5733?
Yes, remaining. So yeah, that's just an oops. It should be 600 and not 6,000.
Okay.
So we're giving money back, actually.
And I appreciate you taking a dollar cut, too.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how that works, but I don't know how that dollar got put in there.
That dollar is rounding, and you didn't, I put exactly what you send.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
I'll add a dollar when I finish it, but I put exactly what you send, but I'll pretty much always add a dollar to every salary line for rounding.
We can take that dollar for the next pistol that gets retired.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure half of my salary is reimbursed by the state. They give a supplement in the revenue line item. But anyway, any questions? We good? All right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Fire Marshal.
Judge, Commissioners, I'm sure when I step up, y'all just hear cha-ching. So I was asking for some changes in my budget, actually. I want to include the allotment for their maintenance and their fuel into their subsidy, as well as a $20,000 per department increase in subsidy, which brings us closer to the budget they submitted last year when we were going through the workshops. There was an increase for contract services that includes the PMs that we do on county vehicles, that includes just about anything we have contracted, all comes out of that. Radio maintenance, I added $1,000, and a lot of that's for programming and radio maintenance and batteries and all that. The biggest increase is really going to be the subsidies and changing the way we do the budget for their maintenance and fuel. By doing that, that kind of takes my office, Becky's office, purchasing out of the having to track down receipts. One of the problems we have is our fuel that we have delivered to our departments, the contract that they have with the county, they're supposed to be a net 10, and they will never be net 10 with the way we do things currently, because when they get fuel delivered, they turn in the invoice to us, we get it on the next court agenda, which could be up to 2 weeks, so we're already 14 days in. If they're doing this direct with the fire department, they can go out and deliver fuel, they can give them the invoice, they can cut a check and send it to them. So basically their fuel and maintenance money would be paid up front, and if even at that, their maintenance budget is going to be $10,000 per department. So I think we've seen before in the past, if they blow a pump and have to replace it, that's their maintenance budget for the year is already gone anyway. So, and that would be with the understanding if they get to the point where they're just totally broke and they have another engine shell out or whatever, they would come to court, explain what's going on, why it's, but that would help alleviate a lot of the paperwork and stuff.
Where does this leave us with the maintenance on the county-owned trucks?
So the county-owned vehicles, the preventative maintenance would still be under contract. So that's all of the oil changes, filter changes, you know, the PM stuff that we do on a regular basis. As far as repairs go on county vehicles, and it's always been my understanding in the 13 years I've been here, that we are under contract for preventative maintenance. If they have something that breaks, they can quote out and get bids or whatever to get those engines repaired and then submit the bill. By doing this, they would still do the same process, just whenever they run out of money, they could come and ask for more. Other than that, my office increase, I'd asked for a 20% increase for my admin. When she came to work for me, she took a 35% cut to work, and I just want to get her close, and that's from what her previous job was. I just want to get her closer to an actual living wage. My deputy, I asked for a 10% increase, and for myself, I would like to leave mine exactly where mine is and then put that towards them. And then my part-time budget was another increase. I would like to be able to utilize the part-time employees that I already have more often, rather than hiring another full-time employee.
Those part-timers on call,
Yes, so right now my part-timers cover weekend on-call stuff, and if things just get bad, I can call them in during the week and pay them for the hours that they're there. But normally by the end of the budget cycle, I'm having to rob Peter to pay Paul and look for other budgets that might have some money left to pay them. So by increasing my part-time budget, I would be able to utilize them more frequently without running out of budget for the end of the year.
It's raining in your department too.
Pardon me?
Rain, is that in your department?
Rain?
Rain, yeah.
I wish I had a better connection, but if that was on call, it would rain probably 3 days a week.
Okay.
Yeah, and it would be a slow rain, not a flooding rain.
Put another burn ban in and it'll happen.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it didn't work so well for me last time. We ended up under a burn ban for almost 180 days.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Doing a good job. Okay. Jay Webster, Emergency Management.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. How are y'all this morning?
Good.
I don't have a lot. I worked with Becky on my budget to cut my budget in a couple of places, uniforms and stuff there, and then made a cut in vehicle maintenance since my truck is still newer, and then radio maintenance. I did ask for an increase in our coverage for the copier lease because I'll be coming to court probably in the next couple of weeks asking to move some money because of all the copies we've been making. We're going to go over. And then with having 2 people for training and education, asking for an increase there as well. And then asking for a cost of living raise for Margaret Campbell, my emergency management planner.
Took care of it.
And then any discussion that I want to have as we go along through the budgeting process for that grant/recovery person that we've all been kicking around.
You know, a joke about that.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. All right. I don't have any questions.
Well, hopefully by the end of the month. And just remind everybody, because it doesn't seem to be clear to not y'all, but some people out in the community, that me and Margaret's salaries are being covered by other people's money, as people like to say. The grants that we've received over the last 2 years pays for my budget, my benefits, her salary, her benefits, and it's paid for most of the equipment that we have, including everybody's favorite command bus.
Yeah.
So I just want to remind everybody that we still have 2 more years of that being covered, possibly 3, that other people's money will continue to fund most of my department.
Good job. They can make fun of that command bus all they want. Does some good work for this community.
Well, just real quick, I looked at a couple while I was at the TDM conference. DPS just bought a brand new 18-wheeler trailer only. They furnished all the equipment. It was $1.2 million for a trailer. A smaller bus than ours, them furnishing the equipment was $750,000.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good deal. Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, I just got a text message that the Extension Agent Office is in training, so they won't be here.
Okay. Capital improvements, who's capital improvements? Is that you?
Well, I have a list from Drew. I think it's about $500,000. But as we have been putting money in there every court, the 5% from property tax, I've just encouraged any department to come and ask for that during the year. And so that's what I will ask Drew to do. He's the only one who sent anything. And I've asked the sheriff if he's ready, and he says he is, so
Is that capital improvements under your tab, Becky? Under
Yes, sir.
auditor?
There's a bunch under auditor, and that's there.
Yeah, thank you.
Sheriff, you ready? Sheriff and Cale.
I'm always ready.
You stay that way, don't you?
Oh, Lord, he's got a novel here he's giving us.
Anything, so. What are you looking for? Extension, they didn't really even change anything, so. I was like, I knew I saw that in here somewhere. Sheriff got a whole book.
Where do you want to start?
Well, it's Kelly coming to do that? Or you doing that?
You could always count on animal control getting the donation. Yeah, they're not that much, but that was somebody who gave about 38,000.
I think they'd given 80 over the last couple of years or whatever, really big number.
All right. Animal control, they stay extremely busy all the time. And because how busy they stay, the one thing that we've talked about adding this year, if possible, is a full-time kennel attendant. That everybody tries to help each other. We got a great guy out there now that takes care of everything really well, but he's part-time, so we're seeing if we could go to full-time this next year. The dogs, cats, we've had kangaroos in the past, we've had pigs, that's been a few years, but horses, cows, everything's coming and going, and they stay extremely busy. This last weekend, we did a low-cost vaccination, supposed to be from 10 to 12. Well, at 4:30, we finally got done, and we didn't let anybody come in after noon, and the last person that came in was like at 11:15. So the vet was he wasn't too bad, but his people were really slow. So, we got a lot of problems putting up with that. But anyway, they stay really, really busy, and I help them all I can out there too. So asking to go from part-time kennel attendant to add a full-time position there. And then, just like everybody else has kind of said this morning, I really need to keep the people I have. They do a great job, and Kelly, we're talking about the donations all the time. I'd like to think that my good looks help bring in some people and yeah, but Kelly, the work she does with rescue groups and all that, that's what helps those donations to come in. So she's gotten a lot of big donations over the years. So I want to make sure I can keep all these people. So and based on like what's been said this morning, the inflation rate, if I ask for 5%, it's still way under what the inflation rate is, but I'd like to raise the clerk, raise the animal control officers, and even part-time, get a little bit more in that part-time money so we can pay them a little more to keep those people. So that's the only thing extra on that. Any questions about any of that?
That new employee nomenclature is just to bring a part-time to a full-time?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and keep the part-time, but add a full-time kennel attendant.
Okay. All right.
Then to go through these, we've got a bunch of different ones here. So 911 addressing under me, then I've got 2 people in there. They do a great job, and they're staying extremely busy because of all the development going on. So I just ask that you help them in regards to the pay, see to it that they get a raise if possible, and I know that's still to be decided on all. They do a great job in supporting you guys with maps and other citizens with maps and all that too. So a lot of hard work going in there and doing all the work, the behind the scenes work for the CAD system and the map in that, to keep the officers, firemen, ambulance, everybody going to the right place and knowing how to get there. So that's 911 addressing. As far as the jail, thank you guys for everything, for what you've done here recently, getting the raises up. We've had applications coming in. We're not full staff. Every time we almost get that full staff, then they've been hiring people, and we do a great background check on them, but sometimes these people think, oh, that money is good, I can do that, and then they come in and realize it takes a special person to put up with those inmates all the time. So they come and they go still, but hopefully we can get that more stable when we find some good people that are willing to stay around. So thank you for everything you've done for us in the past, and thanks for the roof, but we need a bigger building under that roof. So I guess that's talked about under capital, so.
You can talk about that now, sir,
Well,
if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, well, for the whole time I've been sheriff, we've been putting people out of county for over 20 years, 21, 22 years. When I was a deputy, Sheriff Hardin sent them out to West Texas. Not as many as we are now, but so that was 5 years after that building was built, basically, from the old Annex 3 that was a jail to the new one. We get over full. And the thing about, 192 beds, that sounds like a lot of people, but then you can't put the murderers in with the crazy people and the sex offenders. You got to keep everybody separate and keep them safe, and that's, otherwise you're going to have a lot of fights, but that's per jail standards. You got to keep them the minimum security and maximum security, and so you can't just mix them all together, and otherwise you'd end up with a big old bunch of problems. So. Yeah, and for many years, courts have asked me, well, how big of a jail do you want? Well, probably about 400 beds. Right now, and I've talked to Commissioner Wilson about it, and the judge too, that we've got 44 people as of the day before yesterday that were convicted and ready to go to jail. I found out not 100% of them are paper ready, but pretty close to it, just waiting on district clerk to get everything done. We sent one yesterday, so that dropped it to 43, and they said that they were going to accept 3 more next week. But now they're starting to back up again, and on the news they're putting out that it's because of the escape. Well, that didn't have anything to do with the facilities and taking in people or anything else. That was on a bus and down the road and all that. So they've used a lot of excuses, and there's nothing I can do about it. So. Business is booming, unfortunately, for the law enforcement, just like Judge Gillum said, that we've been bringing them in every day and every night, and a lot of serious charges, and that's what he was dealing with at the jail this morning, and he's headed back to the jail. So burglars, drug dealers, drug abusers, probation, probation violations got us this week, I think. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they arrested maybe 6 or 7 even just on probation violations, and some of them can get bonded back out, but some of them can't, and the bond goes up on them. So anyway, they keep piling up in the jail. So this week and last week, we knew we were going to have a problem. Somerville County, we got the contract. Erath County, we have the contract, and Brown County, we have the contract. Well, none of them were accepting any extra people. So we're stuck with them and trying to figure out how to get them out the door on PR bonds, which I've done quite a few of those. And that's a risky deal, trying to do that and keep track of these people. And Judge Buffkin's done that, and Judge Messina's done that too. Judge Buffkin just did one for $50,000 on a. I wasn't going to touch that one, but he did, and it was one of our guys that we figured was going to pass away here in the last few months, and he hadn't. But they keep stacking up in the jail. So when it gets to this point, I talked to Wise County yesterday, and Rockwall County, they got a brand-new jail built, but they still are not in, because they got the new part built, but now they're working on the upgrade to the old part. So he doesn't have a full jail ready to go. So he said, no, I can't take any extra prisoners. Wise County said, no, we're full, can't take any. Tarrant County, they got the space, but they don't have the manpower to do it. And part of that comes back to Commissioner's Court. I got a great Commissioner's Court. They don't, maybe. And it's tax dollars, so they need more jailers to keep staffed in there. And so Lampasas, they built a new jail, so I was told I could probably work a deal and get some taken down there. But it's just like when we used to use Waco. That's a lot of miles back and forth. So Lampasas would be a lot back and forth. So we need to start thinking about the jail, because the county's growing faster and faster every day. It's kind of like technology. It just keeps every year getting more and more, and the people keep moving in, and the percentage of those people are the people that come to jail. So, I don't know what, and I have no idea of cost. It just keeps going up from 2005 or 6 when the court got an architect, put together some plans. I think the court paid $65,000 for an architect to draw up the plans, and then decided not to do it. But here we are quite a few years later, still kicking that rock down the road. So we need to get that thought about and moving again, if possible. I know it's tax dollars, but I'm running out of places to put them, and then the out-of-county prisoner bill is going to start going up if I have to start looking for jails. The only places that have extra room are the counties that are about shutting down and people are leaving, so out in West Texas, possibly. I'll have to do some more research on that. Or like I said, Lampasas, and they're lots of miles away.
So let me ask you, going back to your first statistics, you said that there's 43 ready. In other words, they're going to prison. The paperwork's done, but TDC's not taking them. Did I hear that correctly?
Correct.
So they should be going down to TDC.
That would make a big difference.
And they're not taking them.
And I don't know what the problem is. We've talked to the jail commission to put some leverage on them, because I bumped up out of compliance just this week a couple of times, technically. And today, as of right now, this morning, we had 240 in the system, so we're bouncing over that 192. So I don't want to get in trouble. I've had a perfect record as far as that. But yes, the state is not taking. They did take one yesterday. Supposedly they'll take 3 next week, but they should be taking a whole lot more than that.
So in essence, I'm just thinking out loud here, but the state is in a way contributing to making us look at the possibility of expanding our jail.
At this point in time, yes.
Because this is one component of the puzzle.
And I've been in contact with the governor's office yesterday and this morning already, trying to get those 43 processed out of here. But, like he said earlier, we've been shipping people out since 2000, continually. And Becky's working on a list of by month, by year, by county, for as far back as she can go, which is 2009, for how much we've already spent, and continually, because we're spending $45 a day in 2 counties, $50 a day in Brown County, right now, that's what we're spending. And we've been spending that for quite some time.
Well, how much do we spend per day for a prisoner that's sitting here in the jail now, in our own jail? How much does that cost us?
$46.70 a day.
So, there's only a couple of dollar difference there, and that side of it.
Those don't count the transportation, the deputies that have to transport them back and forth, all the mileage and wear and tear on the vehicles, the fuel, all of that. That's not in those numbers.
Agreed. So you got 43 that need to be taken down to TDC, and then you got these others that you farm out that are on lesser offenses, not necessarily going to TDC, but you don't have room for them.
Correct. And the vast majority in my system are felons or working on becoming a convicted felon. The stuff that was brought up by the constable earlier with the Class C stuff, when we get that, they might spend the night, and then the JPs are great for getting them out on a payment deal, payment plan, like the city, the Judge Hines, he comes in every morning, and so those guys, if they get arrested after 5 o'clock when the JPs go home, or 6 o'clock, whatever it is, sometime throughout the middle of the night, they come to jail, and they'll spend the night in jail, sleep on the floor, sleep on the hard bench over there, and then they'll get a free breakfast out of the deal, and then they're out on with a bond from the JP as far as a payment plan type thing. So the problem I got is the people that can't get out of jail, because they got such high bonds and they're felons or no bond even, so because of the amount of trouble that they've got into. So, and even the ones that are out in other counties, they're the ones that are just sitting and waiting because they can't get out, waiting on going into district court, things of that nature. So it's not like I got a whole lot of people with just little bonds that I could just say, go ahead, we'll do a PR bond. So It's not that case. So I do PR bonds on everybody that I can, mainly medical, if they're looking like they, to keep the problems coming back to you guys in the hospital district. Then the other day I did a $36,000 bond just to get the guy out, and his family didn't want that to happen. Said, no, we want him to stay in there so you guys can pay the bill. And so that kind of upset me too, and I said, no, I'm willing to do that bond on that. So he's out to get his own, he's got cancer, so he's out on his own, and hopefully we'll be able to keep tabs on him and get him back to court when he needs to be, and so I do what I can to try to get those guys out of there. But bottom line is population's growing, population in the jail's growing. We got to do something.
We started today, how many years before we even open up the jail?
Well, probably 2 or 3, yeah. By the time the plans are drawn up and get construction going, yeah, it could be like 3 years from now. So.
Yeah, for a workshop on that issue.
So anyway, sorry about that news, but I always want to bring it up just because of the problems I'm dealing with. So, but yeah, the state, they need to fix their problems, and that's been brought to the governor's attention. So hopefully the trickle-down effect will get things going on that end. So, and in all my years of sheriff and all my years in law enforcement too, I have never seen a TDC bus drive into the Sally Port up here. We always have to take them, otherwise we'll be waiting forever. So, and normally what they do is every Wednesday is when they'll accept them down at Waco to the drop-off point. So on a normal time, we'll take 5 or 6 down there, drop them off, and do that every week, and so it keeps that count down like that. But yeah, now it's building back up, and we got 43 that we need to get out of there. So back to the budgets. Here's some good news since we talked about bad news. Justice Center security budget, we had 4 deputies in here. I believe we can make do with 3, and that's what we're doing now. 1 retired, so came to court and asked for his pistol and retirement and all that. So he's been retired for a while, so we're not even going to use up the budgeted money for the rest of the year because of that. And what we do is when Dee needs help down here, we'll get a couple deputies to come down here and do whatever we need to do for the jury days or other days. So we can leave it like that. The only thing I'm asking in that budget is the supplies show $300 is what we start out with, and we always take from the admin budget just to get them what they need down here. So probably need about $1,000 in there to cover some things. So we're saving you a whole deputy for down here, but need some more in that. Dispatch, just like the jail, thank you for everything that you've done here lately to get the pay up, and things are getting stabilized pretty good. I told the people I'm never going to send them off to a Spillman conference ever again, because John Hurley quit because he went to work for Motorola, now making like $25,000 more a year than we can pay him. So all I could say was bye. And we're going to keep him on part-time because of this radio deal. He's been an integral part of all of that. So we need help on a part-time basis every once in a while, so that works. But so thank you for everything you've done with that. Admin budget. I've got like 19 deputies that live out of the county, and young guys and gals too, for that matter, that talking about wanting to, because of the cost of fuel, not have to drive so far, and even looking at staying where they are and getting a job where they can make more and live out of county. These people are good people. I'm glad that I've got them, but I might lose a whole bunch of people if the cost of gas keeps going up and the rate of pay doesn't go up. So I'd ask that you look at that real hard and serious this year with seeing what we could do to get the budget raised up for those guys. In years past, we've had commissioners that said, don't compare them when we do a comparison, and we've done a lot of those, that don't compare them to Granbury because we can't compare that. Well, but we've lost people. I just lost a lieutenant to the city of Granbury, and he's a patrolman now working the city of Granbury, and he makes more than he did working for me, so I can't compete with that. And it happens every so often. I lost two guys went to the border because they were signed up for the military stuff, so in reserve, so they got activated and they spent a bunch of time down at the border, and then one guy got a job, went to work for DPS, so he quit. Well, stuff like that happens. I can't compete with the state of Texas and things like that. And when it comes to the young guys, the older guys look at the benefits. The younger guys, they just look at the bottom dollar. What do I get paid to make the bills? So if you could look into that this year, think about that, see if we can pay them, all my deputies, more. One of the things we've had too with comp time, so on some of the shifts, I have trouble just keeping people on the shifts because in court, grand jury, I'm taking time off. Sometimes they do get sick, and then trying to burn off the comp time that they acquire. And so if we could ever get something established with overtime would be fantastic. I know it sounds like a bunch of money if I say I need $200,000 of overtime, but in the long run that might be better than having at the end of the year rolling over that comp time amount that we're trying to get burned off, and it's near impossible. I can't let this guy off because then we'll be too short-handed, so then I bring in another guy to work his shift, and it just keeps, everybody gets built up. So I'd ask that you look at putting in some overtime and paying them a little more. Vehicle maintenance, we had in the 2018 models, we had transmissions go out on every single one of those Tahoes, and they're now replaced, but that it's pretty well depleting that maintenance money. So thanks to you, we've ordered the 6 Tahoes. We did get 3 Tahoes in. Might get the other 3 in next week. We'll get them upfitted, take the oldest ones out of service or put to use with the investigators or something, and keep things moving like that. So I greatly appreciate that, and they are coming in finally. Or at least 3 of them did. So that helps. But with the older equipment, then I'm going to ask that you bump that maintenance money from $75,000 maybe up to $100,000. Otherwise, we end up trying to transfer money around just to keep, so we can pay the bills.
One question: you're the only one that's buying ammunition. You didn't go up on your ammunition, but yet you've used 88% of your budget, and everybody else either doubled or tripled their ammunition request in their budget. Any reason why you're holding that line, given the fact that ammunition is?
Well, yeah, I probably should have added that in there too, but with my abandoned vehicle money, with a little dab of the forfeiture money, when we need something for the SWAT team for extra other than qualifications.
Okay.
I've been providing for it like that, so it takes the little bit of the load off of you guys. But yeah, it's all going up, and you know that. Like,
I know that very well.
it's gone up and it's got down, and dealing with the state contracts, you can get it a little bit cheaper, but sometimes you're waiting for a long period of time to get that. But yeah, I didn't go up, and yeah, I probably should have. So.
That was just an observation, because everybody else, like I say, doubled or tripled, what they had, and yours stayed the same.
Well, I've supplemented that from other pots of money, I guess.
Right.
Man, I'm just trying to hold the line as best I can when I'm asking for all this, to get my deputies raised, the overtime money, the maintenance money. Yeah, I can throw that in too, but just trying to cut where I can.
With the deputies, there's no new deputies in there, that's just the raises for the existing deputies?
That's just the existing, and I was getting ready to bring that up with new deputies from time to time. I've been asked for deputies. A number of times I asked for 20 deputies, and they said, oh, how, what do you need 20 deputies for? Well, we work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So you talked about working 4 10s. Well, we work 24/7. So if I add 4 on each shift, patrol shift, then that's 16 people right there. And there's been different times, like when we lost Lance in 2013, I made them work, ride 2 people in a vehicle, and they couldn't keep up with the calls. So they finally split back up and went, taking their own calls in different precincts and one in a vehicle. But safety is a big concern to me. So someday I need that. And then another thing with the people, then with the Uvalde thing, then I've had Lipan, Ralph Carter, the superintendent, has asked me how much does it cost for a SRO. And I put some figures together, just ballparking stuff, and talking to Melissa about insurance. So I said $150,000. That's for the person, equipment, the vehicle for the first year, and the next year it could go down to like $90,000. And he didn't get upset. And so they're looking at stuff. I told her I don't know what they're looking at for sure, but it's possible all the school districts could come back to the city or the county and say, hey, we need about 40 extra people for working at the schools. So if they came back and said that, whether it's me, a constable, or Chief Galvan, we couldn't find those kind of people, because you can't just put somebody brand new out of the academy. You got to, and it's hard to find even those guys too, but you got to search for the person that has the right experience, get them the training they need, and then move them in there. So it'd be hard to, this country is going to have a big problem. Everybody's talking about adding people, so, but they're going to want money to stay in this line of work, and then the cost of just getting them set and moving them in. So there's a lot of unknowns right now, and we've had a couple of meetings with Texas Ranger that we have. BJ Hill went down to Uvalde to work down there, and came back and said, hey, I got some ideas. I want to let you know what happened, and we need to call in the superintendents, and we did that last week. So there's a lot of people asking questions, and that might end up being one of those things is, hey, I need to find me a bunch more people, and I don't have enough people to get it done now as it is. So, but I need to get their pay up so I can keep what I have and not lose what I have. So yeah, I'd like to say, give me $20 million and I'll give you back what I don't use at the end of the year. But I know that doesn't work very good either. So I got, I guess one other thing about we had, Jay had talked to you about the person that we're getting from maintenance, and he's passed the psychological and all that, so we're going to put him in as a recruit, send him to the school using our training money. And we've had some incidents come up in the past where we had recruit pay and then moved them up to regular deputy pay, but and that's caused some confusion at times, and people that are making more money than what the recruit is, and just trying to get more of a lateral move, I'd like to do away with that recruit pay and just, we're taking and holding a spot for a deputy, so why don't we get them step one as a deputy and let them move in there. So that's a request for this next year, to do away with the recruit pay that's a little lower and just. We did that already. No, we talked about it, but it hadn't happened. So I'd like to throw it out there now for the new budget year. So when this new recruit passes school, which hopefully he does real well, then he'll be coming in at going to that school at a lower rate than a deputy until he gets done with that. So, but he's taking a spot, so that money is already there. So with him, I've got still 2 open spots that we're doing backgrounds on people, so hopefully I can get that filled. But yep, he'll be starting school, I think it's the end of this month. I don't remember the day, the 28th, something like that. But, so I'd like to move that and do away with that recruit pay and just Deputy 1. And like, if the last few things I'll finish up with is like on the step plans, they're so close as steps. We've looked at some different plans for the law enforcement, where if you're a deputy and you work for a few years as a deputy and you want to move up to a sergeant or a corporal and then, you know, on higher, you're not going to lose money. But like in the jail and in the patrol, we've had people that we brought in, like one guy in particular brought him in had like 15 years experience out of Tarrant County, but he wanted to get out of the rat race, came down here, went to work for us in the jail, worked for us for a while, and then we moved him up to sergeant, and he had to take a cut in pay. And so he was already taking a cut in pay, but we need to move a gap in those from a basic deputy, basic jailer, and then the next step up. Because if you work, some of these guys, if they work for a few years, then to go for step 1 as a sergeant or whatever, then they're going to lose money, have to take a cut in pay. So this guy did. He was willing to take a little cut in pay, but most of them say, no, I'll stay here where I am. So, and that's the way it's been for, I was on that first committee 15, 16 years ago for putting those step plans together. And it was great. We needed the step plan so everybody kind of knew where they were and where they were going, and you guys knew where they were going. But they're too close together. We need a bigger gap in there. So so you can work for a few years at one thing and move up and not lose money to move up. So we've got some different step plans that I think, did we actually give you any of those here recently? But we have those we can give to you where we've got from like the way the city of Granbury does it and others. We've done a lot of research over the years.
I don't have
Okay.
one.
Well, I'll make sure that happens. Because that's been a problem. If you have somebody that works for a number of years as a deputy or a jailer and then wants to move up, they're actually moving down in the pay range. So that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. And so then it's hard to get good qualified people to get in those positions. So. I think I've been through all of my notes. I control other stuff with the nurses. You know, I came to the court and hospital district, asked for a 4th nurse, so we have 24/7 coverage for medical because of the type of inmates that we've got over there. I had 4 for a while. Now I'm down to 3, and that's been quite a while, and I haven't been able to find that person that wants to work with inmates, and paying what we pay, I guess, is pretty decent for LVNs and all of that, but yeah, they'd rather go to the hospital or nursing home or home health care and not have to put up with inmates or something. So I'm still trying to find that 4th person, but so when it comes back to the if you can give raises this year, don't forget about my nurses, my medical staff. You have any questions of me?
Yeah, red numbers always get me confused with what they mean. Take a look at the sheriff transport. Mine is $10,000, plus $12,000. What's going on there?
Okay, and that transport, I didn't bring a copy of that with me because I knew it was going to be cutting close for time, but that is when we do transports for extraditions. So somebody that's taken off.
That's not the transports that are taken down to Brown County and back?
No, that's covered in the regular budget under the regular people with the regular vehicles, under the regular everything. So that is, it starts out as that's a budget that we can actually make some money because and add to that when they come back, because they go to California or Florida or New York City or something, and then that bondsman has to cover the cost of helping fly them back, drive them back, whatever. So we can submit those bills and they can pay that. And so sometimes that budget will go from.
You're making money for that $10,000 worth, that's income.
Yeah, so we have to have a budget set there so it shows, where we're at, because we have to buy plane tickets sometimes when you're going to, it doesn't make sense to drive to New York City or Los Angeles, California. Sometimes it's easier just to fly out, pick them up, and bring them back. And so we have to have a budget there to get money out of for different reasons, but then usually it'll come up over the years, over the period of that year because of making money back because those bondsmen have to pay that.
It's going to get worse, too. It's not going to ever get better.
No,
People, more population. It's going to have to address it.
Yeah, and on that note, too, with that transport deal, we have, the district attorney's been keeping up with me. We finally found, after quite a few years, Demopoulos. I don't know if any of you remember that name, but he was convicted as a sex offender and took off. And he was hiding down in Mexico. So the U.S. Marshals was one of my guys, my deputies assigned to them, and his team found this guy, finally had him picked up, brought back. He went to Fort Worth. Well, then the feds took him off to Pennsylvania, and he's sitting in Pennsylvania, and I found out yesterday that they might drop those federal charges. And, that's not up to me, that's up to federal court. So we're going to have to go up there and pick him up and bring him back. But he is one that we need to keep, need to get him in, a Texas prison now. But there's still a process that he has to go through. So we'll have to probably fly somebody or two people up to get him. And our plan is to get two people to go up there and get him, not just a couple of regular transport people. So they take off, and I know Dwayne Hart one time, he went to those islands out there by Puerto Rico and all that. It was in the United States jurisdiction still, so the marshals caught him, but we had to go get him. So he flew out there and picked one up here a number of years ago. So that's part of the deal as sheriff too. So everybody wants to be the sheriff, but they don't realize all that extra stuff that you got to take care of under that. But anyway, that's part of it too. So, thank you for listening to me, and we'll provide you with those, like Granbury's salaries and the way they have them adjusted and things of that nature. So I've got a copy here I could give you, but I better get all of you copies. So. So thank you for your time.
Okay. Thank you, Sheriff. You do a good job. Okay. CPS here, have you called anyone?
I wouldn't know how to get a hold of those, Judge, but if you want, we can start on mine, because mine's big.
Okay, why don't we come on? Yeah, let's talk.
you get ready, specifically reading, enjoyment.
Yeah.
And addresses.
Thank you.
On the auditor, which is the first one in your packet, the 5% increase is pretty much standard that everyone is asking for. Our copier lease, we should have started that lease in October, but they did not, our lease was up. They did not have a new machine. It was somewhere on a ship coming to America. So we've only paid, I think we finally made a payment. So that's why it shows no money paid, but we are being billed now. So I don't want to change or lower that budget. The general administration budget is everything that's not in anybody else's budget. As you can see, it's disability, water services, attorney fees, economic development, which is at zero. I reduced that to zero. We do not have a plan to pay that, as far as I know. Am I correct?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And I increased areas where I know there will be an increase or that I anticipate, and as looking at where we are in our current budget, that those need to be increased. Are there any questions on those two categories? Indigent defense attorney fees, the next page, that's one we manage because we report that to the state. I hope that will be sufficient. If not, we will increase that during the year from a contingency budget, but this is as good as I can get it right now. And as this year goes on and we won't approve the final budget until September, I will hopefully have better numbers here that if I have to change these. But again, these are all run at exactly 6 months so that we can have a pretty good idea of what the year will bring. But you never know with attorney fees. They could have many trials that I've seen it happen. I've seen us run out of money here a lot of years, and then some years we have a ton of money. But until we get closer to the end of the year, this is just a ballpark. The next page is capital. Again, Drew has given me some numbers, but he is the only one that has. No more money than this is. I suggest he take care of these things now, because we have money in capital that we can handle this. And we are, putting a little bit in from property tax. And I would recommend doing that again this next fiscal year. That's worked out really well. We haven't had to borrow money by doing it that way, and we keep our fund balance down a little more. And Dave, the fund balance, we were talking about that when the auditor was here. You have to keep in mind that that includes that ARPA money. So we're kind of at a wash over the 2 years. We don't have a surplus. And in all honesty, the rest of these are self-balancing budgets that I just make sure that the revenue equals expenses, and that if we have to transfer money from the general fund to one of these funds, that those balance, that they're sufficient, because there are some funds that run out of money. The Citizens Collection Station, they do not generate enough revenue to be self-supporting, so we add money to that every year. And I'm sure you all are in agreement that we need to do that. That's a good service for the community. Any questions? I have a lot of pages in here.
Let me ask you this, my capital murder deal here, that $5,000 indigent defense attorney's fee, we do have that insurance policy that we pay off.
We do. And I kind of leave that there so that I can move it if I need to, or if something comes up. It's just, I like to be prepared.
You know, that first call trial at Erath County.
Well, we're also in the co-op for that.
Yeah.
So that helps, but you never know what it would cost. Capital murder is not cheap. And I do have the American Rescue Plan in here, and I've kind of stuck a budget in here until we get more money, and that needs to be a workshop, and we'll discuss this then. But it's in here as a placeholder so that we can work on that. Any questions?
Good job.
Well, again, there are quite a few in here, but they're mainly self-balancing funds, and I try to keep them that way. All right, I'm going to sit back down.
So you make that break and just put somebody on the call list, because everybody else, like child advocacy, senior citizen, community transfer, combat, the county appraisal districts, all that's this afternoon.
If you want, I could try and do mine, and then if any citizens show up on scheduled time, I can come back.
That'd be great. Thanks,
Okay,
Katie.
good.
Veterans too, the veteran services?
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that. Hers has no changes, and she just came up and said a little bit ago that she has no changes, which she had submitted that. So there are no changes in her budget.
No changes, veterans. Okay.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. As a county clerk, it's required of me to put a notice of public hearing for my archival plan into the paper, and I did that. So I'll just read this. Hood County Commissioners Court is considering the acceptance of the county clerk's archival plan and report. A public hearing concerning the proposed plan is scheduled to be held during the Commissioners Court meeting at 11:30 a.m. on Thursday, June 9th, 2022, at the Hood County Justice Center Jury Room, Central Jury Room, located at 1200 West Pearl Street, Granbury, Texas, 76048. The purpose of this hearing will be to discuss the county clerk's archival plan. All citizens are encouraged to attend this hearing and present their views to the county. So I guess, do we need to go into, call it a public hearing? Call for a public hearing, Judge? Yes.
And we went to a public hearing?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, let's go ahead and go into a public hearing here. 20 minutes till 11.
Okay. So I have the archival plan for preservation and restoration of archival records for 2022 to 2023. The purpose of this document is to define the restoration and preservation, digital capture, storage, retention, and management of archive records belonging to the county clerk's office. Records maintained in the county clerk's office have been identified to fall under the category of preservation and restoration plan. That will provide reproduction and archiving of such records and assist in maximizing storage space and making records readily available for optimum viewing. It is the intent of the county clerk to follow guidelines set by the Texas State Library and Archives Commissioner for preservation of such records. The goal is to reproduce and archive all documents regardless of type as efficiently as possible. The county clerk's office is restoring records to suspend or reduce deterioration of public records. The public access to these documents are displayed in a manner that reduces risk of deterioration and reduces or eliminates paper documents. Public records are now more accessible than ever on the computer system and by index. This will also allow digital access to the county court records and provide an archive method to back up our imaging system. The earliest permanent records in the county clerk's office are paper-based. We have protected our hard copies by boxing them, inventoried them, and stored them in original books in acid-free boxes. Then we label and lock them in our old jail, which is a storage for us in which they are filed on shelves off ground and protected from water damage should there ever be a flood. All plats have been digitized and added to the computer system. Since I've been in office, there have been over 64,696 pages of judicial documents created prior to 1996 that have been digitized and imported into our current case management system for public view, allowing a person to search that data anywhere in the world that has internet. My plan for fiscal year 2022-2023, I plan on digitizing probate records currently on microfilm. This will be approximately 75,000 pages. And that's what I have for my archival plan. For my budget, I don't have any changes, and I just ask that you treat my clerks as fair as everybody else. Thank you.
I'm sorry. 18 minutes till 11, we're going back into Commissioner's Court and special budget meeting out here.
Yes, thank you. Do you have any questions for me? No. Okay, thank you.
So next year we do this from 9 to 1?
We can do commissioners and county judge, can't we?
Yes.
To the county judge. We don't have any changes, we've reduced.
I don't show any changes for the county judge. What about commissioners?
I turned in one way to a few changes. You get it? You have a copy of that?
I thought I did, but
I got it. It won't take much. We get it. Let's see, we have one in the book from.
That wants us to do not submit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go to supplies. We stayed the same as supplies. No, we didn't get reduced the supplies to 3,942. Travel and education, we kept at 2,500. Precinct 1, 2, 3, and 4. Under dues and prescription, we kept it at 1,900. And bonds, we reduced from 400 to 355. And that's the only changes. Copier lease is at 0. We don't have one. Which I know you enjoy that, right? It's thinking copier lease. Everything else has stayed the same.
Okay. Ready to go for mine? The only thing I think that I've asked on here for the assistant court coordinator to give a slight increase, but that's just the regular 3%, isn't it, Becky?
it's whatever you guys tell me you want to do. Some people have submitted 5, most people submitted 5, some submitted 8, some are 20+%.
Nothing else has changed on mine, though, has it? Okay, that's all that I have. So I suggest that since we're through with that, and that we not have anything until 3:15 that's scheduled, that we go for lunch and then come back at I don't know, at 1 o'clock, do you think we could have somebody to call? I guess I could get my office to call them and just tell CPS and this Child Advocacy and Janet at Senior Citizen.
Or should we just go back up at 3:15, 45 minutes there?
No, we could, yeah, maybe, yeah, that's a good point. Why don't we just adjourn now until 3:15?
What about the, if anybody does show up at 11:30, we're gonna have to,
Well,
we have to come back for that if somebody does.
Well, we're through with
Speak
everybody.
on archival.
No.
Well, I mean, that was posted.
Well, you think if the public, somebody shows up
Yeah,
to hear that stuff?
public hearing deal for 11:30 or whatever for the archival records stuff.
Well, you can see, I don't see
Yeah, I bet not, but that's, I guess we might have to make a phone call or something to get everybody scrambled back up here.
Just tell them to call you up.
All right, I'm on it.
Okay, see, that's only gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4. From the transit. Yeah, these should, okay. All right, man. Okay, we are adjourned until 3:15. Okay, this is a resumption from the recess that we took on the budget hearing this morning. The afternoon session is beginning at 3:15 p.m. here on Thursday, June the 9th, 2022. And we left off so that the first item on the budget is the CPS. Is there anybody here? I told them we got an open checkbook and laughed and said, how are y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Introduce yourselves for the record here. So.
Yeah, hi, I'm Linda Durant. I'm Vice President for the Hood County Child Protective Services Board, and this is...
I'm Celia Whitman. I'm the treasurer.
Mike Wagasback, I'm newly appointed member of the board.
And I'm Robin Solomon. I'm their secretary.
Okay, good. Thank you all. All right. Please tell us.
Well, I want to start by apologizing for Tammy McGuire, our president, who is always here, but she had a work engagement that she could not reschedule, so otherwise she would be here. Okay, so we are a board that's established through a contract between the Commissioners Court statewide and DFPS for assisting in identifying and meeting the needs of children in CPS care. And we are a fiduciary board. We make sure that they spend the county and the state's money the way they need to spend it. And we also have a non-for-profit branch where we help meet the children's needs through meaningful experiences.
And donations.
And donations. So we're here to request your continued support. We want to thank you for joining us by doing the proclamation that you did for our Child Protective Services or Child Abuse Month in April. That was a wonderful event. And Celia will tell you more about how we use your money.
Okay.
Okay, well, I want to apologize for my cough. It's a sinus infection. It's not COVID, been tested 3 times, okay? But our board is very, very active because not only do we have the fiduciary responsibility, Tammy and Linda are both on a state advisory board that helps keeps us up to date with the other CPS boards, and it helps us locate additional funding resources for the Cash for Kids side, and keeps us up to date on legislative changes and pending legislative changes. So we keep very active in knowing what's going on in the CPS world. Currently, you give us $18,000 annually, and we're asking that same amount for 2022. We use this money for requests that are part of an agreement with the state, and all the counties in the state participate, have CPS boards. The funds help us to pay for items that the state decides must be paid by the local counties. They include court-ordered UAK2 drug testing, which we actually pay to the Hood County, what's that back here? That probation department, yeah. So we pay back to the probation department. Family conferencing meeting supplies, birth certificates, paternity test fees, parenting classes, annual clothing allowance for the children in care, and annual maintenance and administrative fees for the new Kindred Care portal that we are establishing to enhance the foster parents and caseworkers' intercommunication for resources and benefits for the children in care. And the way this portal is going to work, it's going to have a portion for privacy only for the children, the foster parents, and the kinship care parents, who are families that took the children in care, to be able to communicate with each other privately, because you can't do that on Facebook, you can't do anything public, it has to be secure. But also the caseworkers, and be able to find resources for each other. Plus, there's going to be another piece where the community can look and say, hey, what are the resources that we can have? So we're going to try to have all the resources in Hood County. So if they need something from the Advocacy Center, it's going to have their name, number, and who to contact. So it's going to be very interactive with the community. In addition, for the 501c3 portion, the Cash for Kids portion, because every board has that, where we raise funds above and beyond what you give us, that people will be able to donate. And they could donate for a specific item. Let's say, a child needs to go to camp, and they say, okay, we'll send the kid to camp, all right? So those are the things that this portal will do. And the boards, on the board side, it's only going to be the administrative, annual maintenance fee administrative, which is about $300. Prior to 2015, we had received an average of $3,000 to $4,000 from the jury fund donations. But now there's many more participants in the program. Last budget year, due to COVID, we received less than $300. This year, up until now, we've only received $1,000. So you can see where that had diminished greatly, which is why we asked a couple years ago for the $18,000. Overall, we try to be the place of last resort for the kids to come to. So we try to help them find other resources like Rainbow Room. If Rainbow Room can do something like car seats and stuff like that, they go to Rainbow Room. So we manage your money very well. We're very frugal, okay? But we still need the money to help with care for the kids. The average amount of children in the program over the last 3 years has been about 100 children. Now, they're Hood County kids, but they don't always live in Hood County, okay? Because we don't have enough foster parents here in Hood County. In conclusion, we feel that the current funds that you give us, we can meet the demands. With an average of 100 kids in care, like I said, over the last 3 years, we'll be able to meet the demands. And we really thank you for your continued support in helping our organization.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank all of you for coming. Does any commissioner wish to ask any questions? Any comments? Thank you very much for coming here. I think you also good purpose. Thank you for all the kids for the county too.
Yeah, and really, thank you for coming to that kickoff for Go Blue. That was really I think everybody was ready for some celebration. And for those of you that didn't attend, we worked with another organization. They did the pinwheels and the pinwheel garden, and then we took over with the Kite Festival. And all the money came from donations to give the kids hot dogs and chips and got some kites, inexpensive kites, and they just had a ball. So thank you so much.
Thank all of you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Child Advocacy Center for an hour. Oh, you got the president.
I'm going to bring my president.
Good afternoon. My name's Margaret Cohenauer. I'm the Executive Director for the Children's Advocacy Center, and I've been fortunate to come before you the last 3-4 years, and appreciate your continued support of the center. This is my 4th year at the center, and I've been coming every year since I joined the CAC. So, and then Sheriff Deeds, who is our board president and's been on the Child Advocacy Board since its inception, I believe.
No, 1 year after.
1 year after, and we just celebrated our 15th year. And we keep hoping we will be out of business, and we're not. I'm coming before y'all just to thank you for your ongoing and continued support. The last couple of years have been kind of crazy, and I was trying to think what stories I could tell you and give you a good picture. Our goal is to promote the healing of child abuse one child at a time, to provide a safe place where a child can tell their story one time, where law enforcement, child protective services can bring a child to the center and we interview them, and it's recorded and used for, achieving justice hopefully in the end. But what happened during COVID is we would have children do an outcry and there's no justice. So we needed to step in and make sure those families still had a lot of support, advocacy, counseling services. We never shut down. And we're seeing even one of the children that we just recently finally graduated from our program finally achieved justice. The perpetrator was finally sent off to jail for 99 years. We've been with that child and that family for over 3 years and providing gas cards, meals, transportation, whatever that family needs. That's our goal, is to wrap that family with whatever services they need. And whether it fits in the budget or not, doesn't matter. We're going to meet that kiddo where there is. And right now, we have really beefed up our prevention program because we know that only 1 in 10 children will make an outcry. And when we go into the schools and talk to children or go into the community and train adults, they learn more about recognizing. And we had a child, we were doing a presentation, and a little girl came up and she said, "My best friend, that happened to her." And so we were able to make the call, get that investigated, do a controlled phone call. That perpetrator was picked up that day, and that child and her family started the healing process. She wasn't going to tell. She was one of those 9 kids that was not going to tell her story, but had the opportunity. So part of what we do in our prevention program is to educate the community so that they will share these stories, that children will go, "Oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that wasn't okay." And so we do see a lot of that. And ultimately, our goal is to move into a little bit bigger space and provide a space where all the partners can be housed. We're not there yet. We're working towards that. And just appreciate your support. You may have questions for me. Do you have any comments? Things you want to add?
Well, this component with the Children's Advocacy Center, like she said, it's been running here in Hood County for 15 years. Back when I was a deputy, it was really tough to work on these cases because these little kids, it was hard to get them to talk to us, but we did it. We worked it out and get CPS involved. It was a lot of friction everywhere, and then bring the case to the district attorney, and this is what pulls it all together. It gets these kids justice, make sure everything's done the way it's supposed to be and correctly with the kids, and then the healing starts right away. So with all the services that they have. So I don't know how we ever did it in years past, but we're very fortunate to have the Children's Advocacy Center and this person at the lead of all that right now. So it's a great organization and really does a lot for the community.
We've been really fortunate to have your support, and just asking that you would continue that. We'd really appreciate it.
Well, the program, the event that y'all had at Novella Luna.
Yes, that was fun. That was great.
Exciting to wake the community, and the video, very instructive for everybody to really see. Thank you for that. So.
We really want to educate the community. We still have a lot of way to go to get everyone to understand the big picture of it, but that's what we do. That, and then work with the children once the reports have been made.
You'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Doesn't Brenda somebody else, isn't she on the board?
Yes, and she's wonderful.
I recruited her for a few different boards that I'm on.
Yeah, good board.
So, yeah, the district attorney's on the board, Mitch Galvan's on the board. We have to be on there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a lot of other good people on the board, and everybody works together. And,
yes, we're required to have all our partners have to be represented with CPS, law enforcement, district attorney's office, but we also look for individuals in the community to serve on the board as well, and that really helps us get a real good picture of what's going on and what we can offer for the community.
We'll do all we can to help.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Any
both
questions?
very much.
Thank you very
Anybody
much.
have anything?
No.
Anybody?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Got it.
Mhm.
Thank you, Margaret. All right. Now, Ms. Jeanette Scott. Sheriff, don't go anywhere. I hear you're president of this one, too, right?
Yes, I am. I got to take care of the young, and I'm getting awful old fast, so I got to take care of the old. So
I'll tell you
Jeanette
one thing,
Scott.
Jeanette Scott does a great job up there, too. And I've eaten there several times. The food is awful good, and they do a great job.
Well, thank you. I'd like to just read something that I've written that's kind of different than what I normally say here. This year's been very different for us. Normally, I come here and just have good stories about what's going on there. We got through COVID just fine. We had to make a lot of changes to our program for that, but the economy is hurting us. We have high gas prices, high food prices, food shortages. Meals on Wheels is being tested. We've got a higher demand than we ever have. We're getting about 25 new seniors requesting service every month. In May, we served 7,042 meals.
Wow. In May?
In May.
Wow.
In May. Last fiscal year, we served 70,539 meals. So far this year, we have served 46,190 meals. If we keep on the rate that we're going, there'll be 74,190 meals this year. So that's 4,000 meals more than last year. We look at what we're dealing with at the senior center. One of the issues we have is the space we're in. 22 years ago, Tommy Briscoe and Phil Folletto worked on the construction of that building and the design of the kitchen. They've upgraded equipment through the years, but right now we are maxed out on our space, and we're literally juggling how many trays fit in the oven, how many we can cook and put in the warmer, then put the next set in. It's tough for our cooks, but they're getting it done. We've been talking to kitchen designers about different equipment to get the job done. There's not room in the physical space to put different equipment. It won't fit. So then we start looking at remodeling. That's expensive. That's all kind of things that we're looking at long term. Those guys that built it 22 years ago probably thought that kitchen was enormous for what they were doing, and now we've maxed it out. We kind of need to think for the future now and figure out what, if we do anything, don't just put a Band-Aid on it, but do something that will allow the program to grow, because it's going to grow. We know it's going to continue. The price of food this year is a challenge. Last year, we spent $237,000 on food. This year, so far, we've spent $196,000. So we've got 4 months left. We're projecting that we'll spend $294,000 on food this year. That's 25% increase in food prices. And then not only is the food more expensive, but ordering's become harder because we have 3 different food vendors that we kind of juggle between. We used to be able to just put a food order in, hit submit, and it'd show up the next day. Now you have to check the prices on all 3 websites, find the lowest price, submit your order, and then you get a message back that it's out of stock. So then you have to change your menu. You know, we're using menus that are approved and by, North Texas Council of Governments requires that we use approved menus. So we're varying our menu because we just can't get what we need. Our cooks are very good at having alternative things on hand or other ideas. You might run into them at 6 o'clock in the morning at Walmart, buying something that they need to get something done that day because we just can't get it anyplace else. Our transportation program is running strong. We had a record of 341 rides in May. And I thought in March, we broke a record with 339 rides. But we broke the record again in May. And that seems to be the way it is with all our numbers. We keep breaking our records. And if you look at the slope of the line of our service, it's just slowly inching up. I don't think there's ever going to be a decrease. The amount of seniors is increasing. We do door-to-door service for seniors, and we contract with transit to bring seniors to the senior center every day. So between the two of those, we have done, well, we're projecting 2,900 rides this year. The other program that we are happy about at the senior center are all the activities we provide. We are fortunate to have a grant to pay for all those activities, and we're seeing record attendance. But like tonight's the dance, we have our Thursday night dances. We're averaging 130 people at every dance. And seniors need to get out. They need to stay healthy. They need to socialize. We've got art classes and line dancing classes, games. They come and play hand and foot and mahjong and all kinds of games and bingo. And we have more than 1,000 people visiting the senior center every month just for all the activities. So we're staying very busy. And
how many volunteers do we have driving?
We have about 230 volunteers driving Meals on Wheels every day. We're up to 19 routes. The kitchen plans on cooking for 400 every day now, because the numbers for Meals on Wheels will fluctuate depending on who calls in, because they have a doctor's appointment or they're going to go visit some kids or something. And so we plan on like 325 Meals on Wheels clients every day, and then the rest is served at the senior center. So the kitchen's having to cook for 400. They've never had to cook for 400 before, but that's just the way it's going. So every year we ask the county for $75,000. I'm asking for that same amount this year, just to help us with the growth of the program. And we're doing good, we're managing, but we're going to need help from the community.
Well, I'll tell you, I've delivered Wheels on Wheels, and I'll tell you, it's eye-opening. If you ever want to feel humble, just go ahead and do that. See, that's a very humbling experience, but you do an excellent job. I've been there several times this year, and it's a vital part of our community, the service that you do for. Because that's one thing about it. Young children and the elderly, they need the help and they can't do it. Maybe you can argue about somebody that's healthy and in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. But when you get very young or very old and can't do it, you do need some help. So we're going to really see what we can do for you, okay?
I think with the seniors being on a fixed income, the economy has them scared. And, you know, they're trying to manage their finances. I think that's probably why we see more people coming in for lunch, because it's, you know, we ask for a suggested donation of $3.50. And we don't keep track of who pays that and who does. You know, it's just, there's a box there. If they want to put money in, great. If they don't, great. We don't keep track of that.
Can you use wild game? Can y'all serve wild game?
I don't know. You know, we are using the approved menus. So that's why it's hard to use like food from the food bank because it's not geared towards a restaurant. And with the institutional cooking that we're doing, it's hard to use a lot of stuff like that. That's, you know, when we cook green beans, if we're going to use canned green beans, we're going to open about 16 of the large cans, and the food bank may give us cases of the little ones. So, you know, it's just not reasonable to use that stuff.
And I don't think we are allowed, COG is the ones that are supposed to fund us, which we don't get the checks, are kind of few and far between, but with the dietitian has to approve all the meals and the state behind all this stuff, I don't believe we can do that. Just like
some ways you can, some can't, like we have.
Yeah. And our funding from COG has been a little unpredictable. We've got a contract with them. So.
Well, this is vital to the
Yeah.
You do a great job.
Thank you.
You really do. You do, Sheriff.
I do all I can.
Many jobs here, many hats here, okay?
Good thing there's only 24 hours in the day.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here from the Transit Authority? I don't know, but we were talking about that. This is the same transit that, you know, out of Somerville, we're talking about wrapping the buses and doing something else, because everybody has a concept that it's only for elderly people. But people can rent them and you can take a party and go to DFW, you know, to the airport, have a party. The big new industry right now is to have these buses to go to the various vineyards around here. And they like that because it cuts down on the DWIs. They'll pick them up at a hotel, take them out. A lot of ladies like their wine, and so they'll take a group of ladies or whatever on the deal. And I just attended a meeting yesterday in Glenrose about that. So we'll be getting some more information out on that. So
Party bus wrap, that ought to get some attendance.
30,000? 32,000. Sorry.
we got 600,000, but I think we spent 800,000. So it's kind of my budget back then. Make a lot of money, but spend more so we can still grow it. But okay. How about the historic committee? I can see that commission, we well represented by Mr. James Christy Massey here. You can't turn these down, it's just easier.
Just a lot easier, huh?
Yeah.
Well, before I start bragging about our outfit, I would like to talk about the transit system. My other hat that I wear is I'm in charge of the trolley transportation, and the transit system does help us out tremendously here at the city of Granbury. A lot of people don't realize the potential that that company has, and when we have our huge festivals, we call a guy named Danny, and I mean, he takes care of us, and the charge is very, very minimal. So I have to brag about the transit because it's a good thing for Hood County and certainly for the city of Granbury. So I'll just agree. Okay, first of all, I almost said Mayor Massengill, Judge Massengill, Commissioner. I was on the other side of the track in my political life. So I'd like to thank you very, very much for all the support that you've given us in the past, preserve history. And I have with me Christy Massey, and the longest tenure board member, longtime past president, and now she's our secretary. So we're blessed to have her on board and give us a lot of the guidance that we have. We think it's essential in preserving the history. going along with my other hat at working at the visitor center, we have 49 brochures and all that, and the number 3 brochure that we have is the Hood County Historical Commission History. That's the number 3 that we hand out, and people are very, very interested in our county. A lot of history, a lot of record, and so it's evident. And I guess if I didn't work there, I wouldn't know that fact, that it was that important to people that come in here, and anything from Jesse James on and on and on and on. So we've asked in the past for $5,000. This year we're looking at $4,000. That's what our request is. We have several projects that are in the works. We had quite a bit of a slowdown with COVID because the Texas State Historical Commission, not their fault, but the people they contracted to do some of the work for some of the markers and all that, there was a 1.5 year delay. Normally it's a matter of months, or at least in that year you get it, but we've had a little struggle with them. Again, not anything that we're pointing fingers at or anything, but now that it's eased up a little bit, we have a few events and a few markers and all that we're looking into to see about putting them around our county. So we just want to thank you again for the past support, and we want to continue to work here in Hood County and telling the people all about our history. So, Ms. Massey, anything? I'll speak for her. No, I won't. But anyway, thank y'all very much for your time, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank y'all.
Yes, sir.
Good job.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We'll have more Christmas decorations for
Yep.
the courthouse, and we'd like to put a couple more containers, glass containers in the courthouse for more of the historical type items that we have in the treasurer's room, historical room in the courthouse, so that people can see them.
Great. A lot of visitors in historical.
Yes,
courthouse. Really
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
There's a lot of old stuff there.
Yeah, there is.
Important stuff.
Yeah, very much so.
Good job.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Mr. Coke Bailey here with the Pond Valley Mental Health.
Mental health.
I know this lady right here.
She does some pretty good work, doesn't she?
She really does. Yeah, it's amazing. It's
I keep my mouth shut.
kind of surprising, but not really. She's a great person. Yeah, exactly. Well, I know y'all been at it all day, and I'm not asking for an increase in our funding this year. With all the flood of federal money coming out, we're getting our share, so I feel pretty good this next year. But thank you for the ARPA funds. We're putting that to good use. And I want to thank you especially for Christy Massey and Ed Selheimer as our board members that represent Hood County. So they're doing a great job and just always there. I mean, for all the years Christy's been on the board, I can only think maybe one time you missed, maybe 2. And it's like she had surgery or something. It was something serious, right? You know, like going on vacation or anything. But seriously, they add a lot to the board, and they mean a lot to us, and they're very supportive. Our budget this past year's been just shy of $35 million budget. We're budgeted for 350 employees, but that's our biggest issue right now, is we are running several percentages below average on our vacant positions. So we're having extreme staff shortages. Actually, we're doing fine in Hood County. All of our clinic positions, are almost all of them are filled, but we have other parts of the region that aren't. For example, in Johnson County, I have 12 case managers, full-time equivalent positions out of our mental health clinic in Johnson County, and I have 3 of those positions filled. We're just not getting applications. So we're having to pull people around our region to make sure that everybody gets the help they need. So when we're that short in one area, it kind of makes you short all over, you can imagine, because you have people on psychiatric medication that need to be seen, need a service, need a contact, need that in-home service and other services that we offer. So everybody's working double time to get that done. So
I think the shortage is on this. Why is that? People not wanting to work? You see it at the restaurants. Is it people not wanting to work?
I really wish I knew the answer. And we're just not getting the applications that we used to. And I'm sure you've heard the term, the Great Resignation. So that's the term that started going around a few months ago. Started in December, just a great resignation across healthcare organizations and other places too, like food service, for example. And who knows exactly what caused that? I think it's multiple things in our society going on that's causing that. I don't think it's just one thing. And now what's happening is it is resetting base pay for people. Now people won't apply for jobs unless it's at a higher rate of pay. That puts a lot of pressure on us because a lot of the services that float our boat are based on Medicaid reimbursement rates and insurance reimbursement rates. And those rates are not increasing right now. So about a third of our funding comes from the state of Texas, and the other 2/3 we earn just like a doctor's office. So we have to see people, we have to bill for the service, we have to make sure we get paid, we have to run utilization reports, all types of things to make sure that our business is running in the black, which we are. So I don't know, I guess maybe 20 years some sociologists will do some kind of research on it and tell us what's going on. But I don't know the answer. But it's, we're dedicated to not closing any of our programs. We have some residential IDD programs for people with disabilities, group homes, much like Southern Concepts has those. So we run similar programs. And that's really hurting us because those staff aren't applying for jobs either. So we have these people living in homes that we have to have staff coverage, or you have to close the program. So we've decided not to close. So we're paying a lot of overtime for people. So they'll come to work.
I've said it several times on those board meetings and stuff. You do a great job. Y'all really do a very important job. And the beds, you know, there's no beds in these real hospitals, these mental hospitals.
Right.
I mean, what's the wait now?
Oh, well, that's a little depressing because the state hospital is not accepting any civil commitments. So there's two ways to get into the state mental health facility, like Wichita Falls State Hospital, for example. One is on a forensic commitment, which is what the county authorizes from the jail. It's a 36B commitment, which is competency restoration. And the other is a civil commitment. So a civil commitment occurs when someone presents with mental illness that is not involved with law enforcement. Maybe they call us or they're one of our clients in an appointment, or maybe we get a call from the emergency room and we go down and do the assessment and determine that this person is dangerous to sell for others and they need to be civilly committed because of that. Well, they have stopped all admissions to the state institutions right now. And the reason, again, is staff shortage. They've had to take 300 beds offline at North Texas State Hospital, which is the Wichita Falls campus and the Vernon campus. So there's 3 campuses that make up North Texas State Hospital. The big one there in Wichita Falls, then you have your criminally insane, big forensic hospital in Vernon. If you've never seen it, it's a sight to behold. And then you have a children's unit in Vernon as well. So you have 3 different units. And they have, I spoke with the superintendent up there a couple weeks ago. He said they have 600 staff vacancies. Is that staff are going to work for $15 an hour flipping burgers, and the state only pays them $9 an hour. So they don't go to work for the state up there.
What kind of qualifications do you need to work for $9 an hour?
High school diploma.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So that's kind of the state we're in. Now, there is hope. It's not a hopeless situation because, as Christy knows, we have applied for funds through HHSC for us to pay for private beds for people. And so that's what we've done. We have the funds to pay for private psychiatric bed days for people who need civil commitments. So we're in good shape. We're not going to have someone sitting down at the emergency room for days or weeks waiting for a hospital bed that needs one. We'll be able to put them in a bed that same day if there's a vacancy locally, which means Fort Worth or Wichita Falls or Abilene or Waco. But we continue to see the increase in crisis calls, increase in suicide, children's admissions and services is on the rise. And so our society is, and I said this, and I'm sure y'all did too, right when the pandemic started, is that there's going to be more mental health problems related to closing down society in the aftermath and economically than this pandemic illness will cause. And we're starting to see it. We have seen it this year, and it's on the rise. I don't know when that's going to plane off, but we hope it does soon. Right now, we serve 543 individuals on average here in Hood County, adults each month, and about 90 kids. And we do substance abuse services as well. We have substance abuse counseling and treatment. And we do a little outpatient medication-assisted treatment, which helps people detox in the community. And we also have detox inpatient bed funding as well. So it's a very interesting world. We still see a lot of veterans. Josh Morrison is our veterans coordinator, and y'all may know Josh. He's a really great guy. He's doing a great job. We see hundreds of veterans a month. We just received a renewal of $600,000 grant from Texas Veterans Commission to serve veterans. Half of that is for veterans' mental health counseling, like for post-traumatic stress. And then the other half is to meet the needs of the veterans, like homelessness and doctors' bills and various things of that nature. So it comes in handy.
You do a great job. This is really
We appreciate your support very much.
Yeah.
And Christy's support. Hey, where'd you go?
Sat down, I'm old, I got tired. They do a good job. And they try to be taking care of everything that needs to be taken care of. And you go to a board meeting, and a bunch of their folks come to that board meeting, not just the board members. And they'll tell you what's going on and where they're short, where they have problems, and where they're succeeding. And you see it in their faces. They care. And it makes a big difference. So thank you, gentlemen, and all the people in Hood County.
Thanks, Christie.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we do appreciate the support.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Anything I can do, call me.
Okay.
I answer my cell phone 24/7.
Good deal.
All right.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, anybody here from the appraisal district?
Becky, you want to speak for them? Oh, just asking.
Becky, you know a lot about what's going on.
What were those daggers coming? Daggers coming.
You don't know how to interpret that look.
Yeah.
Or did you take care of this? Okay.
No showing. No showing. He's got 1 minute, right?
Nature Center. How much did we give back to Nature Center?
2,500, and I believe they asked for 3,000 this year.
I've been up there.
Yeah.
You've been up there?
You walk the trails, have you?
I have walked the trails. Is that it?
That's it.
And Trans is not coming either, right?
They're not here.
Yep.
Animal control, the sheriff handled that one.
Yep. Sheriff, that's it.
Okay, got her done.
Ms. Latham, who are you representing? You know,
Did you come to the appraisal district?
Huh? I'm just here learning.
Explain to me there. No new revenue means it's this much plus this much. New revenue makes no new revenue. Still don't know how that works out.
No.
How come they don't do all
That's
those?
that new math.
Yep.
Funny math.
Common Core.
How come they don't do all those other departments? Animal control, purchasing, personnel.
Yeah, we already did those this morning. Yeah, all the county stuff,
You
we,
did purchasing, but didn't think you did commissioners. You
yep,
did that in the jail, okay.
yes, ma'am.
I can look at my. Sounds like it.
Judge, we are adjourned, aren't we?